Hey everyone! What's up? Welcome to my afternoon streams! For those of you who do not know who I am, or for those of you who are asking, who in the fuck are you? Well, my name's Kurisu. I'm a VTuber nobody knows, and an average Joe stuck in cyberspace, for those who already know. So, how was your day, chat? How was your day? I gotta be honest, my day was kind of blech. I don't know. I woke up extremely freaking tired. I was gonna edit some shorts today, but I was like, nah, I'll do it later. I don't feel like it. But here I am. Don't worry, I don't feel blech anymore. I'm here for you guys, which is what matters. But yeah, chat. Today we are going to do something. Well, we're gonna do one of my favorite things to do when it comes to streaming. We're gonna do a tier list. A while ago, we made a tier list. I think the last one of the tier lists that we made was we ranked every single job in Final Fantasy 14. And now, chat, we are going to be ranking every single mainline JoJo stand. Well, mainline and extras, I mean. Yes, there's actually extra stands outside of the mainline titles, outside of the mainline anime. So yeah, we're gonna be doing just that. We're gonna be placing them all in a tier list. And I'm gonna show you guys the layout. How is it looking? But before we start, you guys know that I always use 10 or more minutes to chat with you guys. You know, just slow things down a bit, you know? We don't wanna rush to everything. However, I have to find an extra activity to do on Fridays because I still want to do the art stuff. Even though I just ended my series of drawing VTubers as weapons, that doesn't mean I cannot start another series, you know? However, however, chat, I have been thinking of actually doing something on Fridays besides art. Or it could be any day of the week, who knows. I was thinking of making a podcast stream, but I'm not sure if that's going to be a good idea or not because, I'm not sure if you guys want to hear my podcasts. I don't even know if people actually stick that long to hear podcasts. The title is still in the works, but I'll think of something. And I'll probably also want to I probably also want to invite other VTubers to participate. Also, chat, I will announce that for all of you to please stay tuned because next week I may, keyword on may, I'm not so sure yet. I may actually be in a collab with Loot Tentacles. May. So the game that we're planning to play, it's not gonna be Fast Food Simulator. It's going to be. She did suggest this one game that it's similar to Only Up, but you're chained together with another person. The game is literally called Chained Together. So yeah, we're gonna be playing Chained Together. I'm not sure if we're gonna beat the game first try. I don't think we're gonna beat the game first try. But hey, we can try. We can actually try. Also, can you guys hear me? I'm not sure if the audio is fine or if the audio is a little bit fucky because I checked the audio earlier and it told me that I disconnected from my mic. Hopefully it's fine. But anyways, chat. So I am not gonna be able to buy a commander deck because I'm pretty sure everybody in my local card store already bought the commander decks for Strixhaven. Which I'm up. It's a bit of a bummer, but what can I do? I got bigger plans than Strixhaven. Here's the difference, chat. When it comes to Magic the Gathering, people want to play Magic the Gathering. I want to play Dissidia. We're not the same. Know what I'm saying? But anyways, chat. Chat, I gotta be real with you all. I really am not sure where do I see myself as a streamer in a couple years. I'm not sure if I'm gonna continue. I'm not sure if I'll be forced to stop being a streamer. I'm not so sure. Hopefully I can continue because I love VTubing and I do not want to abandon it at all. I mean, hey, I wouldn't be a streamer if it weren't for you guys, to be honest. But anyways, uh enough about the sob story. Also, chat, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, waking up today and seeing the voice actor of Deku reading Saikuno's apology was not in my bingo sheet. That was not in my bingo sheet. That was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. And I literally actually like retweeted it. I literally said, what the hell did Deku did to Uchako? What the hell did he do to poor Uraraka? Come on, man. What the fuck? But anyways, alright, chat. For those of you who do not know what JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is, it's a very bizarre anime. I mean, hey, the title itself says it, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And in this anime, there is these things called stands. These are like spirits that are literally like the manifestation of the user itself. And it's a mainstay in the series. So we're gonna take a look at some of the stands, and also we are going to be ranking them on a tier list. So let me check that everything is alright so that I can show you guys exactly what we're gonna be seeing. Okay, let me go to the tier list maker. Oh right, that I almost forgot. I have to change this for you guys at home. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna place myself in this corner. Grab some popcorn, grab a snack, grab a drink. And prepare to get rage baited probably, because if your favorite stand is here and I rate it lower, then sorry buddy, the truth hurts. Alright. Anyways, let's see what we got. Let me change this. Let me change the screen. Alright, chat. This is what we're dealing with. So what we're gonna be doing here, we're gonna be doing a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure stand tier list. Up to part 9, by the way. So we're gonna be looking at stands all the way from Stardust Crusaders to the JoJo lands, which is the most recent one. And some of them are spin-offs as well. And if we do not know what each stand does, I am gonna refer to the list of stands that is literally in the JoJo wiki, so we can see the stand's abilities and shit, and see if the stand is actually pretty broken or they're just hot garbage. Alright, chat. So we have a whole ass list of stands here. Oh man, look at all these assholes that we have to place on that fucking tier list. We're probably gonna be here all night, just so you guys know. Alright, so these are the rankings. We have S plus, which can solo Jujutsu Kaisen. We have S, which is broken as fuck. A is pretty strong. B is perfectly balanced. C is meh, they're just there. D is situational. F is really bad, and E is worse than trash. Chat, there's a reason as to why I placed S plus to be Can Solo Jujutsu Kaisen. The reason why I named that ranking like that, it's because in TikTok recently, there is being a discourse over a lot of people saying, hey, JoJo fans, I don't think your stand can beat this guy. And they always show freaking Mahoraga. And I'm like, dude, you do know that there are stands in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that they don't even have to touch Mahoraga. And Mahoraga is already it's infinitely screwed. But yeah, that is the reason as to why I placed the ranking of S plus to it can solo JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It can solo Jujutsu Kaisen. Simply because of that. Because of the discourse on TikTok. But anyways, we got some stands from part 3 all the way from here to here. We got part 4, which is from here to where the fuck is it? To here. We also got okay, we got part 5. This what was part? Okay, this is part 9. These ones down here are spin-offs, but I feel like some of these spin-off stands are actually worth mentioning because of how how unbelievably broken these things are. Anyways, I am gonna start the tier list now, and if any of these stands is your favorite, I'm sorry if I roast your stand, but hey, I'm just ranking the stands based on what I have seen, based on how broken they are. All right. Without further ado, what the hell? Who the hell pinned me now? All right. So, sorry, I just got pinned on Discord. Anyways, buckle up, guys. It's time for the list. It's time for the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure stand tier list from part 3 to part 9 plus spin-offs. All right. Let's start with the first one. We're going to start with Star Platinum. Now, Star Platinum is well, he's the poster boy of part 3. He's the poster boy of Stardust Crusaders. Okay, I'm just going to lay it right here. Star Platinum, yes, he's actually pretty broken. He has the ability Star Finger, which literally extends his fingers to at maximum velocity to literally do damage. He also has the Aura Rush, which is where he starts barraging you and screaming "Oh no no!" Every single time. Like it's ridiculous. And on top of that, this motherfucker can stop time for a few seconds, mind you, but stopping time is already a broken ass ability. There are stands, granted, there are stands that can do a lot more than Star Platinum, but for being the very first stand that was ever introduced to the series, I think this stand is actually pretty freaking good. He's not as broken as other stands on the list, but he's pretty good. Alright, Star Platinum, you're gonna go on pretty strong. For a starter stand, this is already ridiculous, by the way. Alright, next one, Magician's Red. Now, Magician's Red has the ability Red Bind, which does this Ankh type of attack. And I think he also had other abilities as well. Again, we're just gonna refer to the list of stands if we don't know exactly what else does Magician's Red does. He does use pyrokinesis though, so yeah, he can literally use fire. But he has a lot of them. He has the Crossfire Hurricane, the Special Crossfire Hurricane, which literally turns its fires purple, which I think it was pretty cool. The Red Bind, as I mentioned earlier. Oh yeah, and another thing. This motherfucker has a heat radar. This motherfucker literally makes a fucking compass with fire. It just to detect someone, by the way. Again, it's not like the most broken stand. I mean, it does something, but compared to other stands on the list, I don't know. I feel like he's not bad. I'm not saying that Magician's Red is bad, but he's just compared to the other stands, he's not. I don't know. He's okay at best. There are stands that are perfectly balanced. There are stands that are just wouldn't say he's situational though, because he does have its uses. Lots of them. But in the case of Magician's Red, I would say his stand is... I mean, I would say that Magician's Red is either between perfectly balanced and meh. I don't want to be too harsh on the guy. I'm gonna put it up perfectly balanced for now, because he's not broken, but he's not bad. He's okay. All right, next up we have Hermit Purple. Now, Hermit Purple is Joseph Joestar's stand. As for what Hermit Purple can do, well, besides the fact that you can actually use it as a rope, it's literally just a rope full of thorns. He can actually produce photographs by destroying cameras or any electronic devices. Oh yeah, and you can also manipulate electricity with it, so long as you have Hamon. And keep in mind, during part 3, Joseph is the only guy that has Hamon. All the other guys don't even have this ability. And then, yeah, there's the overdrive ability, but that's exclusive to Joseph, not necessarily Hermit Purple. Hermit Purple is... honestly, I can see its uses, but it's not that useful compared to other stands. I would say Hermit Purple, it's not even situational. Like, I just gotta be real with you all. This stand is really bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can literally create photos and images of memories and shit, but I don't know. It's just not enough to justify it. Joseph's stand is... keep in mind, Joseph is no slouch either. Joseph Joestar is a really good-ass fucking character. One of the best characters in the series, actually. But they just... I'm sorry. They just gave him a really weak stand compared to the rest of the cast. Alright. Next up. Oh my god. Oh my god. I know there's a lot of memes with this stand. Hierophant Green. So, in the case of Hierophant Green, he's got lots of abilities. Lots of cool abilities. I feel that this is a very underrated stand, but it's not the best, you know? There is an ability that he has that I think it's that he can control people. He can literally just... it's a weird ability, actually. It's literally a very weird ability. This stand is weird because it's not bad. It's not too strong either. There's also Emerald Splash. And then there's the Giga Chat move that he did against Dio, which literally covered almost the entirety of the town in Egypt with Emerald Splashes, but it wasn't enough. I don't know. I feel Emerald Splash... actually, I'm gonna place Magician's Red a little lower on meh. I think Emerald Splash... I think Hierophant Green... I just called it Emerald Splash because there's a meme with him. Huh? That's impossible! No one can reflect the Emerald Splash! Yeah, that's why I called this motherfucker Emerald Splash instead of Hierophant Green. And it hurts because green is my favorite color, actually. But in the case of stand usage, I feel that Hierophant Green has a lot more uses than Magician's Red. Granted, Magician's Red is not bad either. Actually, yeah, I'm placing them here. I'm gonna place them both here. I think it's fair. Because they're not bad stands. They're okay. Next up, Silver Chariot. Silver Chariot. Now, this is one of the coolest stands in part 3. This motherfucker can remove his armor to be faster. To attack at a faster rate. Oh yeah, and let's not forget that this stand is it's so fast, in fact, to the point that this motherfucker can catch 5 coins with just 1 sword stroke. He's got the Horror Rush. He can let go of his armor to gain momentum and more speed. Oh yeah, and did I mention that his sword is a freaking projectile as well? Now there is a stand that is actually related to Silver Chariot, which I will get to later. But base Silver Chariot is it's actually pretty strong. So I'm gonna place him right behind Star Platinum here. He's not as broken as Star Platinum, but again, for one of the starter stands, that's ridiculous. Like that's just fucking ridiculous. Godly speed, like insane speed, gains even more speed if its armor is off. And if you think that, this, oh yeah, you know what? This is a close range stand. Yeah, he can just shoot. He can just shoot the freaking sword to you, just like that. He can just shoot the sword for long range attacks. Oh hell yeah! Next one we have the stand that belongs to the dog. We have Iggy's stand. The Foo! Now this is a stand that involves sand. This thing can make lots of uses with its stand. It can make a sand dome. You can fly with this stand. I think. I don't know if it's that the stand itself can fly or only Iggy has the ability to fly with this stand. But the thing is, I don't know. This is one of the weirdest stands. It actually went toe to toe with Horus. Actually, I think Iggy managed to kill Horus if I'm not mistaken. But yeah. The Fool is okay at best. And if you have really good sand material, I think it can actually benefit off of it. Because you can shape the sand into pretty much whatever the fuck you want. You can shape it into a statue. You can shape it into wings. You can shape it into, I don't freaking know, a freaking handheld weapon. Like you can like the sky's the limit. Like you're right. You can use the sand and just mold it into whatever the hell you want. In the case of Iggy's stand, the Fool, besides sand manipulation, that's really all he has. So compared to Magician's Red and Hierophant Green over here, I think Iggy's stand is a little weaker. Sorry, Iggy. You're going in the... Actually, you know what? He's going in the meh category. It's okay. It's not bad, but it's not good either. And Magician's Red and Hierophant Green do a lot more than the Fool. Alright, chat, everybody's favorite stand. Zawardo! Alright, I'm just gonna lay it out here. The world is just fucking ridiculous, okay? The world, unlike Star Platinum, the world actually has more time to use than Star Platinum. The world can use 10 seconds of time stop. That's fucking ridiculous. You know all the shit that you can do in 10 seconds? I don't think Jotaro has 10 seconds with his Star Platinum. But anyways, the thing is the world is evenly matched like Star Platinum here. He does have less abilities, but the ability to stop time is already pretty fucking funny. But that uniqueness that he has is already turned off simply because Star Platinum can literally just does the same exact shit as the world. So I'm just gonna say that these two are evenly matched. But in the case of utility, I think the world falls a little bit short of Star Platinum simply because Star Platinum can do a lot more than the world. Like, yeah, the world can stop time, but so can Star Platinum. You could say it's like you know Smash Brothers, right? You know how there's Echo Fighters that are pretty much like almost an exact copy of a character. Think of the world as an Echo Fighter of Star Platinum. I mean, they're evenly matched. The ability to stop time is already ridiculous, but besides that, Besides the Muda Rush and the Aura Rush, that's literally all they have going together. The rest of the abilities that happen is literally Dio, not the world itself. All right, next up, Tower of Grey. What do I think about? Okay, went to the wrong page. What do I think about this stupid ass beetle? What do I think about Tower of Grey? All right, let's take a look at their abilities. So already its speed is ridiculous. So it can avoid Star Platinum and Hierophant Green's Emerald Splash, which is already ridiculous. And then there's this ability, Tower Needle. All right, let me read what this ability does, because this ability is stupid. Tower of Grey possesses a secondary jaw at the end of an sanctioned appendage, which protrudes from its mouth, and it has a very sharp teeth and enough force to tear flesh apart or pierce its way right through. Combined with its great speed, Tower of Grey is capable of killing multiple people in a very short amount of time by flying through the head of a person with ease. Okay, so Tower of Grey, even though it's not one of the, yeah, forgive me for that. My neighbor's dogs are, yeah, they're, the neighborhood here is crazy, all right? That's why they're barking. All right, Tower of Grey. Now, Tower of Grey, I think it's a pretty good stand because of how fast it is. When it comes to speed, you already know that speed is everything most of the time. But the thing is, they managed to defeat this easily. I think it's because they managed to trap it with Hierophant Green's Emerald Splash. But Tower of Grey by itself, this motherfucker can literally take lots of people's heads in just one fell swoop. So I think Tower of Grey, well, then again, I think, yeah, he's perfectly balanced. But yeah, I'm gonna put him up perfectly balanced. He's not as strong as the other ones, but he's not weak either. Like, Tower of Grey is no slouch. Because of its maximum velocity, it's already a threat. The problem is that if this thing is caught, you're dead. You're just fucking dead. Someone's gonna squash it. That's the problem with Tower of Grey. Alright. Next. Oh my god, I keep going on the wrong one. Fuck it. We're just gonna be here. In this one right here. On the links, of course. Alright. Next stand. Dark Blue Moon. Dark Blue Moon, for those of you who do not know or have never seen the series, I'm just gonna lay it out for you. In terms of appearance, imagine a Sahagin from Final Fantasy. That's literally what Dark Blue Moon is. It's just a beefed up Sahagin. However, Dark Blue Moon does have pretty cool abilities for being a beefed up Sahagin. This guy can literally make barnacles. That's one thing. Second, this guy can make typhoons in the water. Meaning that you can literally make a freaking, I wouldn't say a tsunami, but you can create a tornado in the freaking water. And I know because it was part of the manga at some point. And the problem with Dark Blue Moon, it's that its abilities outside, like, here's the thing. The problem with Dark Blue Moon is that it's heavily dependent in a sea of water. So, because of that alone, Dark Blue Moon is going to be situational. He's a pretty cool stand, but he's only limited to the use of a high sea of water. The thing with Iggy's the Fool is that sand is everywhere. Like, wherever you go, there's always gonna be at least one grain of sand to use its abilities. With Dark Blue Moon, you literally have to be in the ocean in order to use him effectively. But outside of the ocean, this stand is useless. So Dark Blue Moon, he's going in situational. All right, next up, we got the boat itself. We got strength. Strength suffers from the same exact problem Dark Blue Moon has. The fact that it has to depend on the ocean. However, it's not the ocean itself that this thing is limited to. The thing about strength is that you just create a huge ass ship. You could be on land and your ship could be your base of operations pretty much. So let's just say you just park your ship somewhere in a remote island. Dude, your ship is already pretty goated because if someone tries to enter the ship, you can just fuck them up. Like you just have full control over the ship. You can manipulate it, you can bend some of its parts, etc. Strength is a cool stand, but and I think it's, in my opinion, a bit more useful than Dark Blue Moon. But again, it suffers from the same situation. It's too situational. Maybe you can use strength on land, but why would you have a big ass boat the size of a Titanic literally in plain land? That's just ridiculous. Everybody's gonna see this huge ass ship, and you're just gonna attract attention. Like that's just really stupid. Sorry, strength. You're going on situational. At least you're better than Dark Blue Moon though. But again, these two stands, they have the same issue. The fact that they require they require large amounts of water to work. I mean, sure, you can use the excuse that you can use strength in a river, and you can do the same thing with Dark Blue Moon, but still, these two are way too situational for their abilities to trigger and work. Ebony Devil is next. And in the case of Ebony Devil, here's the problem with Ebony Devil. For this stand to work, you have to die. Okay? You have to die. So what you do with Ebony Devil is that you literally possess a doll. That's it. That's literally what happens. You die, you're fueled by resentment, and you possess a freaking doll. Honestly, I think this stand is pretty bad because I don't want to fucking die. Okay, sure, it has its uses, but the fact that the user has to sacrifice itself just to trigger the stand, no. This stand is ass. This stand is ass. It's just pretty fucking bad. All right, next up, we have Yellow Temperance. Yellow Temperance was such a really weird stand, bro. This is the stand that made the little meme. You know, the meme with Kakyoing literally twirling a freaking cherry. Yeah, that weird ass meme. Yeah, that was Yellow Temperance. So in the case of Yellow Temperance, yeah, you can disguise yourself into whoever the hell you want. Even though you pretty much have to feed the stand with stuff you find everywhere. And you can replicate appearances. But here's the thing. I think the stand is alright. The problem is that if you're in a sea of water, the stand's not gonna be as effective. That is one of the weaknesses that Yellow Temperance has. And you don't necessarily have to feed this thing with living animals because it's just a giant yellow blob. Oh yeah, and about that, the thing about Yellow Temperance is that it can mitigate physical attacks. And it can resist burning and freezing. So you can use it as a shield pretty much. I think Yellow Temperance it's okay. You know, it's alright. But yeah, I think that Yellow Temperance is, I mean, it's alright. Yellow Temperance is alright. Compared to the other stand users, I mean, it's again, it's a perfectly balanced. It's a perfectly balanced stand, but I feel like I should rearrange my list here. To be honest, it's not as fast as Tower of Grey though. So I think Tower of Grey actually does. Because here's the thing, Tower of Grey and Yellow Temperance counter each other. Because Tower of Grey can be trapped in Yellow Temperance's blob, or Tower of Grey can go so fast to the point that it can penetrate the blob and go directly to you. So I'd say that Tower of Grey and Yellow Temperance are on equal footing. But I'm gonna place Yellow Temperance a bit higher, simply because I think it's the more dangerous of the two. Because you can disguise yourself as someone else. And if you play it cool, you can pretty much fool anyone with Yellow Temperance. Alright, next up, we have the Hangman. This is a motherfucker that deals with reflections. And defeating the Hangman is anything but easy. So, the thing about the Hangman is that it's something that you cannot actually defeat because it's trapped in a reflection. And if you break the mirror that the Hangman is in, you just made the situation worse for yourself. So, in this case, I think that the Hangman is pretty fucking broken. Because even if, here's the thing, compared to these guys, even if you stop time, you cannot harm the Hangman. The only way that you will have to harm the Hangman is if the Hangman itself is literally transferring itself to another reflection, and then you stop time mid transmission. It's the only way to defeat the Hangman. Granted, Silver Chariot was so fast that it could actually catch him. So, but it actually did require a bit of thinking from Polnareff. So I think for that matter, I think the Hangman is a little bit higher than Silver Chariot. However, again, I'm not gonna rank it as high as the World or Star Platinum because these two can actually destroy the Hangman. All they need is just stop time at the right time, and then he's dead. All right, he's fucked. Oh, he's. Let me just throw this coin into the air. Everybody's gonna look at it. Okay, I'm gonna put sand on it, and while you see the reflection of the Hangman itself transferring to another reflection, that's when you stop time, and you just catch him. He's dead. he's got nowhere to run. And just like that, you fucked up the Hangman. You just need a stand that is extremely fast and can take care of it. Tower of Grey can also defeat the Hangman, but it has to be like really, really fast to defeat him. And again, the reason why the Hangman is a little bit higher is because you cannot directly harm him unless you make him switch reflections, which I think it's more broken than Tower of Grey. Alright, next one we have the Emperor. Now this gun, the Emperor is one of the coolest stands because it's literally a freaking gun, but it's the design of the gun that I love. Let me show you guys how the gun looks. Like, this is, in my opinion, I think this is one of the hardest stands ever. Let me show you guys how the Emperor looks. Dude, look at this thing. Honestly, it's like, you see this, chat? This is a stand. Like, having a stand as a weapon, I'm not gonna lie, chat, this goes hard. Like, oh, where's your stand? Got it right here. And it's a fucking gun with this weird ass ball on, with this weird ass yin yang on it. Icy Manor, welcome in. We are doing a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure stand tier list, and I am literally showing you guys how cool the Emperor looks. Also, DJ, you can continue with the music. I don't mind. But yeah, chat, look at this stand. This stand, not only does it have a cool design, but its usefulness is It's also cool, but it's not particularly the most useful stand compared to the other stands on this list. Like, it's okay. Like, it's a good ass stand. But holy shit, can it backfire? And it backfired for Whole Horse when he was hunting down the Stardust Crusaders. In my opinion, I think that the Emperor is... the Emperor is meh. I'm just gonna put it lower than the Fool. Because it's just a gun. The only thing that the Emperor does is that it changes the trajectory of its bullets. So that it's a sure hit. You essentially have auto aim with the Emperor. That's literally his gimmick. Just you literally have auto aim. But besides that, the Emperor doesn't have any other particular uses besides shooting bullets. That's it. That's literally all it does. Can't believe that. We're still in part 3, by the way. We're not even in part 4. We got a crap ton of stands to look at. Alright, next up, we have the Empress. Now, the Empress... Okay. I'm not gonna lie when I say this to you guys. The Empress is a really annoying stand. You don't watch JoJo? Okay, that's fine. You should watch it though. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is one of those anime that it's pretty bizarre, not gonna lie. However, what's it about? That is the one question you should never ask. What is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure about? The series is about a set of characters that is literally the Joestar bloodline. You have Jonathan, Joseph, Jotaro, Josuke. Like, you have all of these JoJo's. And the thing about the series is that, I don't know, it's pretty bizarre. Like, words cannot express the series itself. It's just so bizarre that I cannot explain it. But it is one of the manliest shows you can actually absolutely watch. So if you want to see manly men with big ass muscles fighting evil, then the show is for you. But let me remind you, it's pretty freaking wild and weird. All right, next up, the Empress. The thing about the Empress is that it's a really annoying stand. I'm not gonna lie. But besides being annoying, I mean, sure, it can actually harm you if you let it grow. And it can actually defend itself. The thing about the Empress is that you cannot let the stand grow at all. And yeah, it may actually cost you a limb or not if you're careful. I don't know. The Empress is not even situational. This stand is just really bad because you need a target for this shit. But compared to Ebony Devil, I'm just gonna put it above Ebony Devil. Because I think you need to make physical contact with the person that you want to infect with it. But yeah, besides that, the are you talking about stands like for battle or something in the anime? Yes, actually. The stands, these things that you see here, these are stands. This is the things they use in order to fight. You know Persona, right? Pretty much, this is in a way similar to Persona, except that if the stand itself takes damage, then the user also takes damage. So yeah, it's kind of similar to Persona in a way. All right, next up on the list, we have Wheel of Fortune, the freaking car. The freaking car that is Wheel of Fortune. Okay, this is just an all-terrain vehicle. It's literally what it is. It's literally just an all-terrain vehicle. And yes, it can actually shoot gasoline bullets. And not only that, but you can also hijack cars radios. You can talk directly to someone on a car radio. And Wheel of Fortune, I mean, you can transform and enhance the capabilities of the vehicle, but Yeah, again, it's literally just an all-terrain vehicle. That's literally what Wheel of Fortune is. But the thing is, it's also a really good method of transportation. So it's not completely ass, you know? I mean, again, for the love of God, it's a freaking vehicle. It's a freaking car. All right. So in the case of Wheel of Fortune, besides being a vehicle and the fact that it can literally just take you pretty much anywhere, I mean, it still requires. I'm assuming that it still requires gasoline. So you're gonna have to feed this thing with gas. I'm gonna have to place this in meh as well. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking meh. I would say maybe a little bit above the Emperor because it has more uses than the Emperor itself. Iggy's the Fool can just become a car if it wants to, with just sand. And that one doesn't require gasoline to work. Alright, next up. Next up, we have Justice, which is Enya. I think it was Enyaba, right? Was that her name? Enya the Hag, which was Enya the Hag's stand. Justice is literally a large amount of smoke that can literally take control of something as long as it has a hole in it. So if you wound someone, meaning that if you cut someone or you stab them, they're not gonna bleed, but they're just gonna have this gaping hole on them. And then Justice can just take control of their body. Oh yeah, and this thing can also make illusions as well. So yeah, it's a puppet stand pretty much. I think that in some way, I wouldn't say it's perfectly balanced either. I would say it's a little situational because you need to perforate someone's body in order for this thing to even work. S tier control basically anything. Yeah, but the thing is, you need to make a wound to a person before you can use Enyaba stand. And besides, Justice also has a weakness as well. The weakness that Justice has is that, well, in the case of Star Platinum managed to defeat Justice easily because it literally like swallowed the entirety of the cloud where Justice is. And yeah, Enya the Hag was literally out of breath. So I think, again, it's a pretty strong stand. I wouldn't say that it's as strong as any of. I wouldn't say it's as strong as, because you can't you can't harm this stand at all. The only reason why this stand lost, it's literally because Star Platinum literally just swallowed the entire cloud. So it's pretty strong. However, unlike the Hangman, you cannot harm this thing at all. The Hangman, you can harm him as long as he's out of a reflection. But Justice, you cannot harm Justice. And on top of that, this thing can make an illusion. You're trapped in a genjutsu, basically. Oh, let's just say, let me give you guys an example real quick. So let's just say you're in the desert, right? And then you see this oasis. You know, there's water everywhere. You go to the oasis, and then when you go to the oasis, you start grabbing some of the water. But the moment that you grab the water, you see that it's thorns instead. Congratulations, you just made holes in your body, and now Justice can take control of you. Yeah, it's pretty strong. It's a little weird because you have to perforate someone, but with the illusions, you can easily do that. Alright, next up we have the Lovers. The Lovers is yet another puppet stand. However, this one is harder to execute than Justice. So basically you can do a domain expansion and then attack them. No, that's not how it works. How Justice works is that, yeah, you can trap them in some sort of domain expansion where they imagine that it's a different location. Like, instead of a house, they see a mansion, but the moment that they snap out of it, it's just an ordinary house. but you can use the surroundings in order to trick someone into perforating themselves, which can be used to your advantage. But besides that, like the only thing you need to do is just stab them, cut them, whatever. You just need to make a wound. That then justice can take control of them. The lovers, on the other hand, the lovers is, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The lovers is a really, really, really hard stand to manifest. First and foremost, you have to find your target and you have to infiltrate them. You have to infiltrate the target. However, credit is where credit is due. Why? Because the lovers is microscopic in size, meaning that you can't really harm it. It's one of those, let me guess, used by two. No, it's not used by two people. It's only used by one guy. But the lovers is it's a bunch of insects that just manipulate your body by being stuck in your brain. So in order to stop the lovers, you have to do something, and that something is, well, oh yeah, I almost forgot another thing. This thing literally manipulates your pain receptors. Meaning that if, let's just say, in case the user is harmed, right? The user of the lovers is harmed in any way. Instead of let's just say, let me give you guys an example. So, how the lovers works, let's just say that you have the lovers on your brain, right? And then you punch me in the face. I'm not gonna feel pain at all. But the moment that you punch me, that punch is redirected to you. So you're gonna feel the pain instead. That's how the lovers work. It's pretty much, not only is it a puppet stand, it's like it's a reflect stand, if you will. Let's just say I literally want to punch a wall, right? I just want to slap my hand in a wall. I'm not gonna feel the pain, but you are. So yeah, I feel that this stand, it's pretty good, actually. Because you can't technically harm it due to its microscopic size. But in order to get around it, it was pretty freaking difficult. The only way that the lovers could technically get harmed, I think it's because Hermit Purple actually attacked it from the inside. Because Joseph Joestar has the Hamon with him, which is not a stand but an ability. I think he used the Hamon in order to stop the lovers. So do I still get hurt? If you have the lovers in your brain and I intend to harm myself, then yes. Or if you try to harm me, you're gonna feel the pain instead of me. Let's just say that I literally, I twist my ankle. I'm not twisting my ankle. You're twisting your own ankle. Alright, so the lovers, there's only a limited amount of stands that can actually deal with the lovers, so I'm just gonna say that this stand is also pretty strong. It may even be stronger than Justice, simply because Justice itself, well, actually no, I think it's a little weaker because you cannot harm Justice. But the thing about the lovers is that you don't necessarily have to perforate your enemies in order for this thing to work. I think the lovers is actually stronger because with Justice, you have to perforate your target. Manually, by the way. But with the lovers, you don't have to do shit. I mean, I get hurt, but don't feel it. Or do you get hurt and feel it instead of me? Okay, no. How it works, let me give you another example. You have the lovers in your brain, right? You're infected with the lovers. And I punch myself. I punch myself in the gut. Instead of me feeling the pain, you feel the pain because you have the lovers on you. That's how the lovers work. At least from what I've seen in the show. Alright, next up. Next up, we have the sun. Look, man. I wouldn't say the sun is as broken as we say. However, the sun is actually pretty fucking broken, not gonna lie. The problem with the sun is that it can actually harm the user. That's the problem with the sun. What it does is just literally the sun itself on a place, and that's just it. It's literally just a ball that resembles the sun. It could be nighttime and it's still literally daytime simply because of the stand. You're just creating an artificial sun. In other words, you're pretty much a Temu version of Escanor. You just create a sun even if it's daytime. Except that, you actually create daytime with the sun itself. So hot, in fact, that even the stand user itself had to make like a reflective barrier with glass on. I think it was glass. I don't remember if it was glass or it was yeah, I think it was no, it wasn't glass. It was a mirror. He had to make a mirror reflective barrier just to mitigate the effects of the sun. So I feel that the sun is a ridiculous stand. The only problem is that it harms the user as well. Besides not attacking, honestly, that's literally just it. If you have the sun in the middle of nowhere and anyone can resist the heat, they can just rush you, attack you, and it's game over. But the sun is also pretty good. I don't know. It's not that good, but it's not that bad. I would place the sun as situational, but in my opinion, is the best of the situational stance. Simply because you just what you're essentially doing is you're creating a hazard for the person fighting you. On a 1v1 combat, this thing is useless. But if someone is pursuing you, that's where it becomes useful because you can be hiding anywhere, and then these guys will never know where you're hiding, and it's also daytime, so they will eventually dehydrate because of the sun itself. Again, it's situational. I would say it's even more situational than Dark Blue Moon, but less situational than Strength. Because Dark Blue Moon requires a body of ocean. As for Strength, you can spawn Strength anywhere you want. The sun, you can spawn it wherever you want, but it harms the user. And it takes time for its effectiveness to actually work. So, the sun is very situational. Alright, next up, Death 13. I'm just gonna be real with you all. This is literally just the Freddy Krueger of stands. Death 13, it's pretty fucking scary. I am not gonna lie. But it's extremely limited. The only way this thing can even work is if the user is asleep. However, the problem with this is that if the user had it stand out before getting knocked out into a slumber, they're going to enter their sleep. They're going to enter their sleep with their stands. So it is situational. I'm not gonna lie, but that doesn't change the fact that it's scary. I'm gonna put this at meh because you cannot harm it unless you're knocked out while your chat is out. Why is nobody talking in chat even though people are watching? Oh, don't mind them. They're lurking in chat. I don't mind people lurking. They're just chilling pretty much. But yeah, I actually do have a good friend of mine who he doesn't have a Twitch account, but he is watching this as we speak. But because of the fact that he doesn't have an account, then he can unfortunately not talk in chat. He will make one eventually though. But yeah, Death 13, again, it's literally just the Freddy Krueger of stands. Alright, next up, we have Judgment. Alright, chat. Judgment is, I wouldn't say bad, but it's not good either. The thing with Judgment is that you can create things out of clay. Judgment is like a false genie in a way. pretty much if you see someone who is insecure and just wants to be like, oh yeah, I want you have 3 wishes. Oh, okay, I can grant you 3 wishes. So oh yeah, I want this, and I want this. What this thing is doing is that it's creating clay figures of that thing that you wished. An example, let's just say you want to have $1,000. Yeah, you're gonna have $1,000, but people are gonna find out that it's literally made of clay. Oh, I want to bring someone back from the dead. Bad idea. You're literally just creating a monstrous clay figure. I wouldn't say this stand is particularly that useful because all you're doing is just creating clay figures with it. And for someone to actually fall for this shit, yeah, it's very rare. Granted, Polnareff was dumb enough to fall for it actually. But I would say this stand is also meh. Actually, no, this stand is situational. I would say it's situational because you need to manipulate your target for this to work. At least it doesn't harm the user though. But again, you really need to manipulate the target. It's just like free toys, chat. Oh my god, dude. Imagine someone saying, yeah, you know what? I want myself a new leg. And then you literally create a leg for them, but it's literally made of clay. The new keyboard sucks. Wait, what keyboard? You mean my keyboard or your keyboard? What keyboard? All right, you mean the stand. The new keyboard sucks? Well, it's because it's made of clay, that's why. You can't even use it. See how it's tricked? See how you trick people with it? Oh, yeah, you literally like... oh yeah, I want a new keyboard. Here you go, buddy. All for you. Damn, this gaming keyboard looks pretty fucking nice. You start clicking the buttons and realize it doesn't fucking work because it's literally made of clay. Yeah, Judgment it's a stupid stand, but you can do some funny shit with it. Create the Tower of fucking Babylon with it. I click and it gives me M or anything else. Damn. That's crazy. Alright, next up. We have... What was her name again? I think it was the High Priestess? Yeah, I think that is the High Priestess. Oh yeah, that is the High Priestess. Okay, so we have the High Priestess over here. Now the High Priestess stand is it's a really weird stand, and it's another water stand. There's a lot of water stands here. But here's the difference between High Priestess and Dark Blue Moon. No, well, yeah, it's a fish man. Dark Blue Moon is a fish man. But High Priestess is more of a menace than Dark Blue Moon itself. Let me explain why. Because the thing is, High Priestess can use any body of water. And it doesn't necessarily need to have water nearby for this thing to even work. Granted, it does help. It actually does help. But in the case of High Priestess, it's really not that necessary to have water nearby for it. Oh yeah, and did I mention that this thing can shapeshift as well? Making it extremely difficult to damage? Yeah. High Priestess is pretty good. And if you are in a body of water, like a large body of water, you can actually trap people in the bottom of the ocean. That's how much of a menace High Priestess is. The only reason why it was defeated is because Star Platinum can actually perforate diamonds, and High Priestess's teeth were literally made as if they were strong as diamonds. But High Priestess is pretty fucking good. I would say it's actually pretty strong. And because of the fact that it's extremely difficult to damage, and you don't necessarily require large amounts of water like Dark Blue Moon or Strength. I would say that this one is slightly worse than Hangman because you can still technically damage it, but it's a pretty good stand. It's pretty good. All right, we move to yet another water stand. Next we have Geb. Yeah, we're naming stands after Egyptian gods now. So next up you have Geb. Geb is, you guessed it, yet another water stand. However, in the case of Geb, yeah, you can use water for it, but unlike High Priestess, you really do not need water. Montage time? Oh, you mean ad time? How many stands are there? Like, I think it will take 5 decans. Oh, how many stands we got? We still haven't even scratched the tip of the iceberg, brother. We're still in part 3, by the way. Part 4 is just around the corner. Look at that. Oh, man. Chad, this is literally what hell looks like. Ranking JoJo's stands to see how good they are. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, Geb. So in the case of Geb, you don't really need water in order for Geb to work because this thing can actually go in the sand as well. But it actually does help having bodies of water nearby because Geb can literally just shapeshift and use something to its advantage. And it's strong enough as well that it can chat. This fucking stand can make a living, a whole ass person fit into a fucking water bottle. I don't even watch JoJo. I'm just watching what is that. Yeah, again, it's a very strange series, and it's hard to explain what it is, but it's a pretty good show. I highly recommend it. But anyways, Geb over here. I think Geb is a pretty good stand. I think Geb, personally, is better than High Priestess because depending on the body of water that you have, you can manipulate Geb into pretty much whatever the hell you want. Hell, I would say that Geb can even rival the High Priestess. Like, imagine being in the middle of the ocean and then you have Geb turn into a big ass kaiju. That, yeah, you can actually do that, believe it or not. Simply because this thing can morph into whatever it wants. So yeah, it's oh yeah, and did I also mention that this thing can create rain as if it was water pellets? Oh yeah, the only problem to this as well is that it's this type of water is, yeah, it's this water is vulnerable to heat. So yeah, it can actually hurt you. I recommend your Lion April, good anime, good in a good ass ending. Oh yeah, it's in my list. Your Lion April is one of those really good anime. But here's the thing, chat. When it comes to other anime, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is not my favorite. I would say my favorite anime, it's none other than Megalobox. Megalobox is just, it's just peak. It's literally a boxing anime. If you like anime from, like, I would say maybe the 90s or early 2000s, you're gonna love Megalobox. Especially if you liked anime like Cowboy Bebop or Hajime no Ippo. No, my bad. Hajime no Ippo or Ashita no Joe. I think you guys are gonna love Megalobox if you like boxing anime. Alright. Now to some weirder stands in part 3. We have Kanum. Now here's the problem with Kanum, by the way. This stand is ass. Let me explain why. The reason why this stand is ass, all this thing does is literally just, you can just pretty much take the appearance of someone. That's it. That's all it does. Kanum is just fucking useless, bro. Granted, it does have its uses because you can disguise yourself as whoever the hell you want. Like let's just say, and let me give you guys an example. Let's just say that you wanna look like Brad Pitt. Well, yeah, you can take the appearance of Brad Pitt, but people are probably gonna tell you're not Brad Pitt. You're just an impersonator. Looks kind of like Usopp if he stretched his face. Oh my god, I think you mentioned it, you're fucking right. That does look like Usopp in the freaking image. Oh man, that is such a... Why did they have to have that image? That is so cursed, bro. But yeah, when it comes to Kanum, it's a pretty useless stand, to be honest, because you're just copying someone pretty much. You're just taking the appearance of someone and that's it. Dolph, on the other hand, Dolph is a very scary stand. It's not particularly useful. It's still pretty freaking bad, but Dolph can predict someone's events. What Dolph essentially does is just prediction. That's it. All Dolph does is literally just predict someone's events. Oh, what are my chances of winning the lottery? Buddy, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win the lottery today. Take the appearance of Elon Musk. Oh my god, imagine taking the appearance of Elon Musk, infiltrating the fucking infiltrating places. That'd be kind of funny. Saying wild shit disguised as Elon Musk. That'd be just to ruin his reputation more than it already is. Anyways, but speaking of Toph over here, Toph is not particularly useful. It just predicts the future. That's it. That's literally what Toph does. It's just future prediction. That is literally it. Alright, next up. Okay, next stand, we have Anubis. Now, Anubis itself, I'm just gonna lay it out here, chat. Anubis is situational. Anubis is really, really situational and extremely specific. In order for Anubis to work, Anubis is a sword, just so you know. You have to pick up the sword, and Anubis itself... Is that a demon screaming? Wait, what do you mean a demon screaming? No, that's not a demon. That's literally just an Egyptian god. It's literally just a god with the face of a jackal. But anyways, in the case of Anubis, Anubis is a sword. Like, compared to the other situational stands, Anubis is way too situational. Because for this thing to even work, a person has to pick up the sword in order to gain Anubis's abilities. The only thing that Anubis does is that it makes you a better fighter. It actually, you're already a swords master the moment that you pick up the sword itself. The problem with that is that, again, you just have to pick up the sword. That's it. And the problem with the sword is, as well, is that you do not get to control the sword. The sword controls you. And so you don't have control over your body itself. So that's why I say that this stand is situational. Because Anubis has no host itself for the stand user. Like, the stand for itself is the blade. And because it has no physical person, you cannot directly harm the user, because it's just gonna get passed down from user to user. The only way you can take care of Anubis is by destroying the sword or just tossing it somewhere into the abyss that nobody can find it. It's the only way to stop Anubis. Like, it's an indestructible stand, assuming you don't even touch the sword. But it's still situational. I would not use Anubis. I don't want an Egyptian god taking control of me. I want my own free will. Alright. Next up, we have Bastet. Just like Anubis, it's extremely situational, and again, it's very specific. Now, granted, it can actually don't like this bad cat. What bad cat? You mean this one, Bastet? The reason why Bastet is situational is because in order for this shit to even work, someone has to touch this contraption. You see this plug over here? You can have the plug anywhere. Like you can have the plug in the middle of the desert, and if someone gets curious enough to touch it, yeah, that's when the stand triggers. But again, it's extremely situational because of how specific you have to be with it. They have to touch this thing in order for it to work. But holy shit, when it works, it works. Because that person has just created magnetism on themselves. So every metallic object literally gets to them. The problem is that if two people have magnetism on them, they're going to try their hardest to separate, and then they're going to crush you in between, which is exactly what happened to its stand user. So yeah, it's very situational. Okay, next stand. We have Sethan. This stand is stupid. This stand is ridiculous. However, that does not make its user invulnerable. I would say that Set is... I like this guy. He looks chill. Oh, he's anything but chill, believe me. Okay, you cannot harm Set. I'm just gonna lay it out here. You cannot harm Set. You cannot harm the shadow itself. If anything, if you step in Set's shadow, you're fucked. You know why? The problem with Set is that the moment that you touch its shadow, you start aging backwards. You ever felt like you wanted to punch a kid? Well, now's your chance, because you can go to the person who's bullying you at school, turn them into a kid, and just punch them in the face. Seriously, don't do that. Seriously, don't do that. That's just evil, man. That's literally just fucking evil, bro. Chill guy turned dark quickly. That's why this thing is a very dark stand. Like, you can't harm it, because if you even attempt to enter its shadow, you're just gonna age backwards. You're gonna turn into a kid. The only way you can revert yourself back to normal is if you defeat the person behind the stand user. So yeah, that's why I say that you're not completely invulnerable to it. This is why the lovers is more broken than Set, because if you harm the user with the lovers, the damage is gonna get reflected. But in the case of Set, you're literally you can harm the user, you just can't harm the stand. But again, yeah, this is a very dark stand. It's a little fucked up because you're just punching kids. All right, DJ, you can still play music. I don't mind. All right, next up we have Osiris. In the case of Osiris, what about people with over 1,000 years old that are immortal? Yeah, they're gonna age backwards until they eventually die of young age. You're turning them into a baby, pretty much. Granted, the more time that they get exposed to the shadow, that is. But anyways, in the case of Osiris is not a particularly useful stand. It's actually pretty bad. Osiris is gonna go, I would say here, because it has more. Actually, no, it goes here because you don't actually have to die for the stand to be used. A little bit higher, actually. I would say here. For Osiris to trigger, what it does is that it takes the person's soul. Let me read the stand, because Osiris is very freaking weird. Usopp got beaten? Oh yeah, he did. Alright, so here's what he does. He's an automatic stand, so in other words, you do not take control of it whatsoever. But what Osiris does is that it steals someone's soul. But in order for the stand to even work, you need to play a game with anyone. You're essentially gambling. And the moment that you gamble with someone, if that person loses, they lose their soul and they get turned into a chip, a poker chip for that matter. However, if you lose, if you, the stand user, loses, you have to release every single soul that you took. That's why I say that it's really bad. Because it has no offensive capabilities. You can harm the user. You can actually just punch the user. 50% it works well, 50% it turns terrible. You just have to play a game with the user for this shit to even work. That's literally why Osiris is really bad. Alright, next up, we have Horus. A bird literally made of ice. Now, in the case of Horus, you don't necessarily need a body of ice either, unlike some of the water stands. Even though Horus is a menace, this guy has cryokinesis. Alright? So not only can you freeze, not only can you turn anything in any living space into a walking freezer, but yeah, you can actually generate blocks of ice as well with it. And keep in mind, this is a stand that is literally on fucking Egypt, which little to no ice is found on Egypt. I would say that Horus is okay. It's meh. It's okay. Actually, yeah, I mean, it's perfectly balanced as well because you can manipulate the environment. Is this about Greek and Egyptian god series or something? Some of the stands are named after Egyptian gods because the setting is literally in Egypt. At least the second half of it. That's why some of these stands have Egyptian god names. But yeah, the setting for part 3 is in Egypt. Okay, next stand we have is Atem. I'm just gonna lay it out, chat. Atem is essentially just the same as Osiris. Like, I mean, they're both brothers, funnily enough. The two who use these two stands are brothers. Both of them are named Darby. Okay, next up is Tenore Sax. Tenore Sax. The only thing that Tenore Sax does is just create an illusionary room. Tenore Sax's gimmick is just to create a labyrinth. You're just creating an obstacle to the opponent, but it's an obstacle with no substance. Is this gonna be a series streams? Because no way I watch all the way to the end. Most likely not. Most likely there will be a part 2 and that will be it. Because we're almost done with part 3 of JoJo here. Probably I would say maybe a 2-parter or a 3-parter. One of those two. Alright, so next stand we have is Cream. Now, Cream over here, chat. This stand right here. This stand is a fucking menace. I do not need to emphasize how much of a menace Cream actually is. He's so much of a menace that he killed 2 important characters, mind you. I'm not gonna say who it is, but he killed 2 of them. And that is fucking impressive. After you're done with this part 1, the stream will just end. No, I wouldn't say the stream is not gonna end on this one part. I would say maybe, I think I have until part 4 or 5, because the stands get introduced in part 3, and we're almost done with part 3. Part 4 is from here to here, and part 5 is from here to here. So yeah, we're almost done with part 3. I'm moving to part 4 soon. So in the case of Cream, Yeah, this motherfucker can literally just create portals and shit for the user, of course. And anything that the thing is, cream can turn itself into a ball, and whatever that ball touches ceases to exist. All right, that's how broken this thing is. The only reason why this thing was even defeated in the first place is because because the user was a vampire and it got exposed to the sun and fucking died. But cream is fucking ridiculous. Honestly, I think that cream may actually be stronger than the lovers. S plus? No, I don't think it's S plus because there's other more ridiculous stands in this list. Way more ridiculous than cream. Actually, yeah, because these two right here, crazy, no, not crazy diamond. That's the next. This is crazy diamond. Star platinum and the world. These motherfuckers can stop time, but because it's JoJo we're talking about, these two are actually pretty strong. Actually, they're balanced compared to other characters, if anything. Alright, so in the case of Cream, he's pretty strong. Not as strong as the world or Star Platinum, who, I mean, for the love of God, these two can manipulate time. They can stop time. But Cream is literally up there. And then we have Holly's stand, which is literally Jotaro's mom's stand. Yeah, this stand is just pretty bad. This stand literally just hurts the user and that's it. That's literally all that it does. Alright, chat. We are done with part 3. Let me hydrate before we go to part 4. Okay, yeah, I would say it's worse than trash, but the thing is, I can only place one stand that is going on that tier list, but I am going to place a stand literally on that list after I finish rating every single stand. Same goes for Iken Solo Jujutsu Kaisen. But first, I need to fill this entire thing up before we actually place them in here or here. So, chat. We are officially done with part 3. And we are going to move to part 4. Diamond is unbreakable. Chat. The first stand we have for part 4 is none other than Crazy Diamond. Now, Crazy Diamond is a pretty good ass stand. Not only is it equally as fast and powerful as Jotaro's stand, but this stand is actually a healer stand. It can actually fix wounds, which is honestly a pretty cool ability. It not only can it fix wounds, but it can also repair things as well. So, Crazy Diamond, this, I wouldn't say it's the best, but out of all of the stands in this list, I would say it's perfectly balanced. Yeah, it's a duck ability. It heals. Granted, the stand user cannot heal itself, but it can heal others. But yeah, Crazy Diamond, out of all of the perfectly balanced stands, he's the best. He's absolutely the best perfectly balanced stand. Next up, we have Zahando! No, seriously, this stand is literally called the Hand. So, what the Hand does is that it literally eliminates space. It eliminates space, and it literally just, let's just say, for example, you're far away from me, right? I can literally eliminate the space in front of me, and I can drag your ass to me. That's how good the Hand is. You can just delete whatever the hell you want. And yeah, the Hand is similar to Cream's ability, but I would say it's a little weaker, to be honest. A little weaker than Cream, but it's still pretty good because you can eliminate space. You're like, oh, you're far away from me. All right. Pretty much it's OP as fuck. Yes and no. It's similar to Cream, but not as broken as Cream. Because you can eliminate space and you can drag people to you. Granted, it's still pretty good because, you know, for the love of God, it's literally the hand. Oh, you're far away from me. Now watch how I drag your ass literally in front of me just so I can beat your ass. That's literally the hand. The fact that it can just delete space, it's just funny. Not only space, but anything in general. Like, these two stands are stupid. Granted, not as ridiculous to the point where they're S tier, but they're just absolutely fucking ridiculous. All right. Then we have echoes. There's echoes before it hatches, Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. Okay, I'm just gonna lay it out. Hear me out. Point your sword at them, then bring them to you. Oh, I got you one better. Let's say you're in a museum, right? Someone is standing in front of you, and there's a sword conveniently placed in a statue. You use the hand, and you drag the sword literally to their head, so that it launches to their head. That's how broken the hand can be. Like, eliminating space is already ridiculous enough. Alright, so moving on to echoes. Okay, echoes Act 0. Let's be, a teleportation ability will be OP if there is one. I think the hand can actually teleport. I'm not sure if it can, but I think there is a stand that can actually teleport. I think. Okay, I'm just gonna be real with you. Echoes Act 0 doesn't really do anything. It's just an egg. Echoes Act 1? What Act 1 and Act 2 do is that they actually make graffiti of... They actually make, like, this sort of graffiti-like thing, and whatever is in the graffiti is the thing that happens. Let's just say, for example, I want my keyboard to be sticky. What Echoes does is that it makes the graffiti that says sticky. And then the moment that you use your keyboard is gonna be sticky and shit. It's like, oh, what the fuck is this? Oh, it's just Echoes because I put the graffiti in there. Granted, the graffiti can be removed because it's not technically a graffiti. It's literally just a sticker that has the word on it. But Echoes is a cool stand. Echoes Act 1 and Act 2 are in a way similar. I would say they're meh. I mean, I think they're better than the card, to be honest. But Act 3? Act 3 is where it's at. Make it draw you ruling the world. Okay, that cannot happen with Echoes But it's pretty much that you put the sticker on an item and then that item becomes that. Or that substance becomes that. For example, let's just say that I want Magic the Gathering card to be sharp, right? And I can place the sticker, the graffiti-like sticker on the card, and then I can throw the card like a shuriken, and it's gonna stick to the wall because the card itself is sharp. That's how Act 1 to 2 actually work. Act 3, on the other hand, yeah, Act 3 is a whole different freaking level. Oh yeah, and let's not forget that Act 1 can also generate sounds as well. It's pretty much sound effects, if you will. That's literally what Act 3 does. And then there's its freeze ability. I like to ask it to draw a shirt if you don't have one. No, it doesn't necessarily work like that. So how Act 1 works is that Act 1 can make sounds. Act 2, on the other hand, Act 2 can make graffiti-like things in order for it to have that specific sound. Let's just say, for example, you touch a lamp and it sounds like a chicken simply because it has the ability. And then there's Act 3 freeze. 3 freeze is All right, I'm just gonna lay it out for you guys. 3 freeze literally just turns you into a freaking elephant. Turns an item into an elephant. What 3 freeze does? An example of 3 freeze. Let's just say that you have a baseball bat, right? 3 freeze can actually turn the baseball bat equally as heavy to a huge ass cruiser. Like it can turn it that heavy. So 3 freeze is actually pretty good. I would say it's also perfectly balanced, if anything, because it has the other abilities of the other stands. Granted, it's not the fastest thing in the world, but I think that Act 3 is also perfectly balanced. But it's still a good ass stand, don't get me wrong. Alright. Next stand. Heaven's Door. Chat. This stand is ridiculous. This stand is just fucking ridiculous. I don't even know how to explain how ridiculous Heaven's Door actually is. Chat. You can literally use Heaven's Door. Let's just say, oh, I want to read someone, right? I want to read someone like a book. What, a door to heaven? Oh, believe me, it's anything but heavenly. What Heaven's Door does is that you have the ability to open someone like a book, right? Like, let's just say that their face turns into a book and you actually read a lot of stuff that has happened in their life. You know, you can read information, who their friends are, their social security number, their home address. Pretty much you have a whole ass information on them the moment that you cast Heaven's Door. But what makes this stand even scarier is that you can actually write things with Heaven's Door. Read minds but slower and you need to be near them. No, it's even worse than that. You can manipulate them actually. Because Heaven's Door, yeah, you can, not only are you reading their mind, you're reading their entire history. And on top of that, you can actually manipulate you can manipulate them with Heaven's Door by writing your own stuff on them. For example, let's say there's this guy. His name is Huang. Look at this guy named Huang. He's the school bully, right? Let's just say that Huang wants to harm me, right? I use Heaven's Door because another thing about Heaven's Door is that, yeah, most of the time the person usually falls unconscious when they use Heaven's Door. Keep it away from me. I need my search history safe. Brother, your safe history is not gonna be safe from Heaven's Door. I'm sorry, buddy, but your search history is gonna be exposed with Heaven's Door. Let's just say, for example, I use Heaven's Door on poor Huang over here. And then, oh, this guy's a bully. Oh shit, this guy has a crush on this girl. Okay. I can literally manipulate Huang and literally write on his history, Huang cannot harm Kurisu, right? And then you close their pages, you know, you close their book. And the moment that Huang tries to harm you, he can't do it because you manipulated them and to the point where they cannot hurt you. So it's like, oh, you want to punch me? Come on, punch me. And then they actually wind up, they try to punch you, and then they're like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Why can't you punch me? Come on. Come on, I'm right here. Punch me, motherfucker. And then they can't do it because I literally manipulated them by writing, Huang cannot hurt Kurisu. Therefore, he can never hurt me. It doesn't matter how hard he tries. I'm going to use it to give him mental trauma. What are you gonna write that he has a psychological trauma or something? That's a very evil way to use the stand. And that is the reason as to why Heaven's Door is stupidly broken. It's a good thing that the person who uses Heaven's Door eventually joins the main cast, because I would really hate to to be on the stand user's side. By the way, the stand user is Rohan Kishibe, who is literally a mangaka. So yeah, you can see how his stand pretty much operates. All right, next up we have Killer Queen. Oh my fucking god. This fucking stand. Okay. There is one stand missing from here, and I do not see it anywhere. I do not see Sheer Heart Attack anywhere. And that kind of bumps me, because I think that Sheer Heart Attack is also part of him. His whole family burned in front of him, and all of his crushes died in a car crash, and then he's adopted and being a... Okay, you cannot manipulate its fate. It has to be something within the realm of possibility. Something that is possible. Like, you can't manipulate him with something that hasn't happened. Like, what I mean by manipulating is that you can manipulate him to not attack you. Or let's just say Juan cannot harm anyone that attends this school. He believes this is happening, but didn't happen. I mean, yeah, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna snap out of it relatively quickly. And then your tactics of manipulation are... yeah, they're not gonna be as useful. I'm just gonna lay that out there. It's probably not gonna be that useful. Anyways, moving on. Killer Queen. Chat, this stand is fucking stupid. This stand is absolutely stupid. Killer Queen can turn anything into a bomb. Alright? You can have something as simple as a coin, and whenever someone touches that coin, you can just trigger it as if you were pressing a button, and you literally just make them explode. It's not as situational, because it's still a pretty strong stand. And it also has another stand that is ranged that is named Sheer Heart Attack. If anything, I think this stand is actually stronger than... I think it's stronger than... I wouldn't say it's stronger than JOJO'S The World. I would say it is stronger than Cream, actually. Yeah, it's actually stronger than... No, actually, this is just base... Yeah, no. This is literally just base Killer Queen. A war starter stand? I wouldn't say a war starter, more like a war crime, because you're literally just turning anything into a bomb. And when I mean anything, I mean anything. But the thing is, Killer Queen has to touch that thing for it to be turned into a bomb. And the reason why it's a little bit higher is because this thing also has a secondary stand within it that is named Sheer Heart Attack. What Sheer Heart Attack does is that it's just this little cart that chases you relentlessly. And Sheer Heart Attack is indestructible, by the way. Make a bomb explode in America and they would jump into a war. Okay, it's not that big of a bomb, though. It's just like, I would say, the size of a grenade, if you will. But yeah, it's still a pretty strong bomb, because not only is it a bomb that explodes, but it's a silent bomb as well. Nobody's gonna be able to hear it. That already in itself is a very scary thought. No, seriously, Killer Queen is literally just a perfect stand for a serial killer. It doesn't help that the person who uses it actually is one, though. But Sheer Heart Attack and Killer Queen, yeah, they both of them together go in, I would say, above the Lovers, because of how much of a menace it is. Bites the Dust, on the other hand, they would just perish. Yeah, pretty much. Chat. Then we move on to Bites the Dust. Again, an extremely ridiculous stand. Bites the Dust is even more ridiculous than I mean, it's still the same stand. It's still Killer Queen, but this beefed up version of Killer Queen is even more ridiculous than its base form. Oh my fucking god, it Bites the Dust. It's Bites the Dust, a menace. So, What Bites the Dust it does is that if you try to find information about the stand user, Bites the Dust is gonna hide inside your eye and it's gonna kill you from the inside. And then time is going to revert to the beginning of that day. And at the moment that that person exploded with Bites the Dust, they will explode automatically without even having interrogated the person. That's how stupid Bites the Dust can be. And believe me, not even Heaven's Door could stop it. If anything, Heaven's Door was yeah, it reverses Heaven's Door. This is like, Bites the Dust literally was the counter to Heaven's Door, because the stand itself, when Kishibe Rohan used Heaven's Door to find the identity of Yoshikage Kira, which is the guy who uses Bites the Dust and Killer Queen, the moment that he turned the page, this little motherfucker popped up, which is Bites the Dust. And then Bites the Dust literally killed him from the inside by exploding him and reverting time. And on top of that, on top of the kablow kaboom, you explode the person, you go back in time to the beginning of that day, and then that person is gonna explode at the exact same time that Bites the Dust actually triggered. This is honestly, chat, this stand is ridiculous. This is broken. It's a little specific because, you know, they have to reveal your identity, but hey, you can a double hit pretty much, because you're reverting time, thus preventing that shit from happening in the first place. And then the person that tried to reveal your identity is gonna fucking die no matter what. It's, again, it's such a stupid stand. So yeah, I think that Bites the Dust, yeah, just it's stupid. It's just absolutely fucking stupid. Like, this is the type of stand that you literally create out of pettiness if you do not want the main characters to win. Eventually they do win, because in order for Bites the Dust to be stopped, Bites the Dust literally has to be out, you know? Because Bites the Dust literally works if you have someone to use it on. Let's just say an example. Let's just say I have a girlfriend, right? And then my girlfriend knows who am I for real, like what my identity is. But the moment that they even question her about it, the moment that they question her about my identity, that's where Bites the Dust triggers. And then they explode, and then, you know, that happens. What if it keeps reverting forever and anyone who gets caught keeps suffering for eternity? Oh, that will happen. That will happen, actually. But the thing is, you need a host for Bites the Dust. That's what makes the stand specific. But again, for being a very specific stand, it's still pretty strong because it's still Killer Queen. Alright, let's move on to other stands, by the way. We're still in part 4. Oh, would you look at that, chat? Yet another water stand. Aqua Necklace. Alright. Honestly, Aqua Necklace is so forgettable that I don't even remember what Aqua Necklace does. Okay, it's a long-range stand, and it's evasive. There is another problem with Aqua Necklace. Yeah, you can control people with it, but honestly, Aqua Necklace is just Geb with a different skin. The only advantage that it has over Geb is that it literally, like, you can take control of people with it. The disadvantage is that you still need a body of water. Like, you still need some sort of water you need liquid. That's what you need. With Aqua Necklace, you need liquid. With Geb, you don't need that. That's why I'm putting Aqua Necklace a little lower than Geb. It's still pretty strong, don't get me wrong. Like, for a starting stand, it's pretty strong. And you cannot hit him because it's made of water. So it's immune to physical attacks, pretty much. But that doesn't mean you cannot trap Aqua Necklace inside of a jar or something. So it's still pretty strong. On a 1v1 teleportation that not only lets you teleport, but also other things will be the strongest and can't be hit and can't be attacked by stands. Well, on a 1v1 teleportation, yeah, you cannot be hit because you're just going to teleport somewhere else, but a teleportation stand is extremely, and I mean extremely hard to find. All right, next up we have Bad Company. All right, chat, picture this. You're in your room and you see a bunch of tiny toy soldiers in front of you. There's helicopters, there's toy soldiers. However, the bullets, the missiles, rocket launchers, and everything that they shoot is actually real. These little motherfuckers are armed, by the way. So yeah, what are you gonna do against that freaking army? Like, it's a little army, but it's still a freaking menace. Because you essentially have military firepower with you. Burn the house. You're just gonna burn the house in order to stop a whole ass army. The only way that you can technically harm the stand is by hurting the user, which is not necessarily hard. However, it's gonna be extremely hard because they're always gonna have troops all over the place. And eventually they're gonna corner you, and then you're fucked. However, if you have an extremely fast stand, or in this case, the ability to stop time, you can actually counter this. Grab one as a hostage, brother, that's not gonna work. They're gonna shoot you regardless because an army, you know what they say about soldiers? The thing about okay, I don't wanna actually no, I'm not gonna say it. That's gonna be a controversial take, and I'm not about to cause drama right now. But when it comes to an army, there's always gonna be more soldiers. So one soldier's death doesn't mean that it's gonna end the war. If anything, you may actually piss them off even more. Say it, I'm worse than you. Nah. Again, I don't want to get into any controversies and... Okay, fine, I'll say it. When it comes to armies, a soldier is expendable. By that I mean is that whenever there is a soldier, there's always going to be another soldier to replace it. It's cruel. It's a fucked up way to see it, but it's the truth. Honestly, it's a fucked up way to think about it, but it's the harsh reality that we live in. Think about it. Cancelled! I knew I shouldn't have said anything. Anyways, what do I think about Bad Company? Bad Company, it's pretty meh. I think Bad Company is... Honestly, I think it's a little worse than The Fool. Because, again, The Fool is better. You can just turn sand into whatever the hell you want. Hell, The Fool, I think you can turn a little army with Bad Company. Like, you can just turn them into a sand army if you want. Granted, it's not gonna have the projectiles, but I think you can make ants with this. One cigarette in a beer bottle and GG. But yeah, Bad Company, I think it's pretty meh. It was a little underwhelming and it didn't last long in the show. Oh my god, I'm almost running out of breath. I think I may need some hydration soon. Alright, next stand, chat. We have, okay, who's the next one? Red Hot Chili Pepper. Yes, that is the name of a band. When it's STB, what do you mean STB? When it's STB? Don't you mean SBR? Steel Ball Run is part 7. Yeah, Steel Ball Run is literally part 7. Like, okay, so far we're in part 4, which is Diamond is Unbreakable. Here, this is part 5, which is Golden Wind. Yeah, short names. So this is Golden Wing, aka Vento Aureo. Over here, this one is Stone Ocean. Steel Ball Run is literally right after Stone Ocean, which is part 7. Then after that goes JoJolian, and then after that goes the JoJo lands. JoJo is the name of the protagonist, because every protagonist has a nick. Every single one of the protagonists has JoJo as their nickname. Jonathan Joestar, Joseph Joestar, Jotaro Kujo. Oh, JoJo's stand? Well, Jotaro's stand is Star Platinum. That's his stand. Josuke, which is the protagonist of part 4's, is Crazy Diamond. In the case of part 5, that JoJo has Gold Experience. Part 6 has Stone Free. Part 7's JoJo has Tusk. Part 8 has Soft and Wet. I'm not kidding, that's literally its name. And then part 9 JoJo has November Rain. Pretty wild names, I know. Anyways, next stand we have is Red Hot Chili Peppers. What Red Hot Chili Pepper does... Okay, first I gotta emphasize, this motherfucker looks like... If this motherfucker looked like if Frieza and a fucking chicken literally had a fusion dance. Yeah, it's not just one main protagonist, it's many main protagonists, depending on which part it is. Every part has its own different protagonist. Alright, so Red Hot Chili Pepper can absorb electricity, and it can also transfer electricity. The more electricity that it absorbs, the more strength and speed it gets. Yeah, you can keep playing the music. I'm gonna see you later. Take care, and thanks for coming. Yeah, sorry if I'm taking so long in rating every single stand. Icy Manor! Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Alright, so, where were we? Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Red Hot Chili Pepper, yeah, this motherfucker can absorb electricity, and it can also shoot electricity. And it gets stronger the more electricity this guy absorbs. So, I would say... It's not bad, but it's not good either. Because if its electricity is low, it's gonna be weak as shit. But if its electricity is high, then it's gonna be pretty freaking strong. So I would say Red Hot Chili Pepper is... Honestly, he's perfectly balanced. I would say right next here to Crazy Diamond, because all this motherfucker does is just absorb and release electricity, and that's it. Alright, next stand. Next on the list, we have the Lurk. Now, the Lurk itself, it's pretty meh. Honestly, it's pretty meh. How the Lurk works is that you have a lock embedded on your chest, and the lock itself, what it does is that it allows you to detect lies, and the lock itself gets bigger and heavier the more guilty you feel. But here's the problem, chat. If a person doesn't feel guilt whatsoever, the lock is not gonna work for shit. So I would say that the lock itself, it's pretty bad. Not as bad, okay, it's worse than Anubis, actually. But it's not as bad as, okay, here's the thing. Hermit Purple is pretty bad, but the lock is just, it has its uses because you can detect when someone's lying with it. And the more that the more guilty they feel, the heavier this thing gets. But again, if it has no guilt, actually, I take it back. This thing is useless. After really bad it goes. Next, we have Surface. Surface is literally one of these creepy dolls that people use whenever they're sketching and shit. So, in the case of Surface, actually, let me read this to have a a bit of a memory on what it does. Okay, so just like Kunum, you can literally copy the appearance of any person you want. And it says here for synchronization. Oh, okay, that's cool. Okay, so it's another puppet stand. The moment that you literally like impersonate someone, you can actually force the person to imitate your movements. So let's just say, for example, I'm copying let's just say that I am copying someone famous, right? Like Justin Bieber, for example, right? And then I literally like I see Justin Bieber eating a freaking burrito, but then I can have the copy eat the burrito like a corn of cob, like a corn of cob, and he has to do the same. It's a fucked up stand, but it's kind of funny. The problem with the stand is that, again, it's way too situational. I don't see the stand you being used. Besides, honestly, yeah, it's very situational. I mean, it's more useful than the Sun and Judgment because you can manipulate people into thinking, oh yeah, that's this person. So situational as it may be, its Surface still has its uses. Okay, next stand we have Love Deluxe. Love Deluxe is literally just a bunch of hair. Shape-shifting hair, mind you. You can use your hair pretty much like a grappling hook. You can use your hair to trap people. It's literally essentially it's just shape-shifting hair. You can use your hair as tendrils. It's a pretty cool stand. It's not bad, but it's not good either. It does have its uses, but I think the problem with Love Deluxe is that I don't know. Besides the fact that it's just hair and it can be used as tendrils and stuff, there's really not much uses that you can have with Love Deluxe. So I would say Love Deluxe it's also in the meh category. Okay, next up we have Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam is another healer stand. It's not an offensive stand whatsoever, but what Pearl Jam does is that it makes the person DJ you can the music stopped. Oh no, Chad, DJ's not feeling good today. God damn it, DJ. Don't worry. I'll help you. I'ma help you out real quick. Hold on, chat. I'm helping DJ. We need our music. I need my Sun City. It's gonna take a while, mind you. It's gonna take a while for this to load, but necessary evil if we want to keep listening to music. And so far, I do not feel optimistic about this, if I'm being honest. Oh, nice. The website itself stopped entirely. Anyways, let's go back to Pearl Jam over here. So in the case of Pearl Jam, it makes the user go into excruciating pain. But the thing about Pearl Jam is that even though it makes the user go into a lot of pain, it ultimately heals them. if not place them in a healthier state. But again, it's a really just like the other ones, extremely situational. So I would put Pearl Jam right above. I would say above Surface because at the very least it has its uses, you know. And another thing I liked about Pearl Jam is that the stand user that Pearl Jam has is actually a really kind person. He just thought he was the only one that had the stand. He was like, "Oh wait, there's more people like me out there. You have a stand," which I thought it was pretty sweet. All right, chat. Let me go back. Let me help DJ for a bit because the music actually stopped and damn it, I want my music. We cannot have our stream without music. All right. There's the music. Okay, we got our music back. We're fine. Anyways, actually, never mind. The DJ is not feeling is not feeling quite good. If we say. Anyways, we got the music back. Okay, Pro Jam is situational, but at least it's the good type of situational, you know. All right, next up, after Pearl Jam, we have Actung Baby. With Actung Baby, you can turn invisible. Let's just say you're an introvert. You don't want to be in a party. You can just disappear from the party if you want with Actung Baby. Actung Baby it's meh, but it's not that bad to be honest because it has its uses. I would say it's worse than the Emperor. Actually, can the Emperor even detect invisible things? If it can, then it makes it more broken than Actung Baby. But Actung Baby, not only can it turn you invisible, but it can turn other things invisible as well. Not only so, I think the stand is actually better than I give it credit for. I think that Actung Baby, because it can turn the car invisible, it can turn you invisible, it can turn your army invisible. Like it just turns them invisible, and that's it. I think I'm just gonna place this above Echoes Act 1 and 2. Simply because it can be used on allies and yourself. All right, next up we have Rat. Chat. Rat is just a sniper. Rat is literally just a toxic sniper. It's literally what it is. It literally just shoots acid darts. So Rat, I wouldn't say it's that strong. Because you just have a sniper. But and it's also a long range stand as well. I would at least say Rat is better than Bad Company because you can just shoot the army of soldiers that earlier, and you can just melt and evaporate them. Just shoot at the little helicopter, and yeah, it's melted. But anyways, I think that when it comes to functionality, Rat is better than Bad Company. And not only that, but not only are the targets gonna be melting, but they're gonna be in excruciating pain. Still alive, by the way. So yeah, I think Rat is alright. Harvest. Harvest is the next one. Harvest is yet another army stand. You can actually inject poison into people. It's many against one, and not only that, but they can help you get currency or any type of item that you tell them to find. So I think Harvest is, in my opinion, a superior army stand than Bad Company. Because not only that, but you can also inject liquids on people. You can just inject stuff on them. You can make them drunk with alcohol. You can literally put acid on them. You can put gasoline on them. It's a random ass stand. But I think Harvest, it's perfectly balanced. I would say it's a little better than Tower of Grace, simply because you're gonna have to kill the entire army if you want to kill the stand user. Or if you want to take care of the entire army, you just take care of the stand user itself. Alright, next stand, Cinderella. Cinderella is just... Chat. Cinderella is just a glamour stand, alright? By glamour, I mean... It just makes you look better. It's literally... Cinderella is literally just a plastic surgery stand. That's it. That's literally Cinderella's purpose. Again, you can pretty much impersonate whoever you want with this, but it's not an offensive stand whatsoever. So I would put Cinderella in situational below Anubis here, simply because this is not an offensive stand. Alright, Adam Hart Father. Let's just be real. This stand was the butt of a joke. It's not particularly useful. It's just Yoshikage Kira's dad in a portrait. Hell, you can trap him somewhere and literally, yeah. Adam Hart Father is not the best of stands. It's really not. All right, next stand, Boy to Man. This is literally a rock, paper, scissors stand. What Boy to Man does is that it eliminates some of your energy the more you lose at rock, paper, scissors. You literally absorb people's energy with rock, paper, scissors. So here's how the ability works, because since I'm reading it from the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure website. So it says here, Boy to Man's power is to steal the energy of an opponent whenever Ken wins a game of rock, paper, scissors. Ken being the stand user. If Ken proposes to play a game of rock, paper, scissors and the opponent formally accepts, Boy to Man sets up a best of 5 game of rock, paper, scissors with the following rules. A draw knows the round and has to be played again until someone wins. Every time Ken wins a round, he takes a third of his opponent's energy and stand. If the opponent manages to win 3 times, their energy is returned and the game ends. So yeah, it's a best of 5 pretty much. So you have to win 3 times. You have to win 3 times in order to be victorious and take your opponent's entire energy. But besides that, yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. It has no fighting capabilities. It's a fun stand, honestly. Boy to Man is actually a really fun stand. And believe me, chat, Boy to Man's episode was by far the most intense game of rock, paper, scissors that I have ever seen in a goddamn anime. It's just wild, even. So, Boy to Man, he's meh. Honestly, he's meh. I would say he's worse than Death 13 in this case, because of the fact that Boy to Man, literally, you need your player to accept rock, paper, scissors. And it has no offensive capabilities. Death 13 can catch you asleep and you're fucked. Next up, we have Earth, Wind, and Fire. Honestly, I don't remember what Earth, Wind, and Fire do. I think it's just shapeshifting. The mysterious power possessed by Mikitaka Hazekura. Apparently it's a stand, but the series itself treats it as if, I don't know. I don't even know if Mikitaka's stand I don't know if he's a stand or an alien, because apparently he's an alien, but then he's not. It's weird. Earth, Wind, and Fire allows Mikitaka to partially or fully transform himself into any object. When transforming, he decomposes himself into a cluster of strips of an unidentified substance, before recomposing himself into one or several objects of his choosing, replicating their appearance, weight, and texture. Oh, okay. He cannot reproduce complex items like machines or something that requires more strength than his own to operate. Okay, I get it. He considers all humans to look the same and cannot be subtle enough to copy someone's appearance. Fair enough. He must have precise idea of what he's transforming into, lest his replication ends up largely inaccurate. He's still subject to his bodily weaknesses. Being thrown around as a pair of dice makes him sick and he will throw up, ruining the masquerade. He requires some amount of concentration to operate. If he panics when hearing a siren, he loses control over his power and the shapeshifting becomes random, eventually forcing Mikitaka into his human form. Okay, so Earth, Wind, and Fire is just, you can literally just shapeshift into any inanimate object. That's literally what it is. I don't think that's particularly useful. And the inanimate object cannot be something complex like a machine. I mean, you can turn yourself into a pencil, or you can turn yourself into, I don't know, an action figure in your room so nobody batches an eye. I don't know. Earth, Wind, and Fire is really bad. It's a really bad stand. I'm gonna place him literally right next to Konum here. It's not like Surface, you know. Then we have Highway Star, I think it's his name. Yeah, then we have Highway Star. Chat. This stand is fucking creepy, bro. What Highway Star does is that you can project a room. You can make a trap room with it. And not only that, but it also gives the stand user an enhanced sense of smell. The stand itself can dismantle itself because it's a remote stand, meaning that you can literally just control the stand while you're far away. What this thing does, by the way, is that it turns itself into a bunch of feet, and then they start absorbing nutrients from something. It's a pretty scary stand because of how relentless it is. And if you try to harm it, it's gonna decompose itself. I think the Highway Star is actually pretty fucking balanced and resilient too, for that matter. Granted, if you attack all of the feet at the same time, it's probably gonna be bad for Highway Star, but I think Highway Star is a perfectly balanced stand. It can get ridiculous if left unattended, though. That I will admit. Okay, next up, we have Stray Cat. Stray Cat can literally make bubbles, but these are not ordinary bubbles, chat. In the case of Stray Cat, I feel that, yeah, Stray Cat has something called aerokinesis, which it turns itself from plant into a freaking projectile. And yeah, you can literally just create bubbles with this thing. And again, it's not ordinary bubbles. These are bubbles that actually can cause blunt damage. They can actually cause cuts. In other words, Stray Cat literally makes air bullets, if you will. It's, I mean, besides most of the stuff, I would say Stray Cat is pretty meh, but I think, in my opinion, Stray Cat may be better than the Emperor. I think, actually, yeah, it's better. I think Stray Cat is better than Rat, because you do not need any materials to make the bullets themselves. And not only that, but you can literally use Killer Queen and combine it with Stray Cat, which is what Yoshikage Kira did, in order to make air balloons. Like, you can make balloons that are literally bombs. A cat paw print is visible inside the impact zone. They're also invisible and can be remotely burst by Stray Cat if he wishes. The bubbles can be popped like a balloon. So yeah, honestly, Stray Cat, pretty wild. Pretty wild stand. Pretty weird stand, actually, for that matter. Alright, besides Stray Cat, who else do we have on the list? All right, Superfly. Okay, chat. Superfly, it's pretty ass, I'm not gonna lie. And it can also harm the user. Because for Superfly to work, you literally have to be on the Superfly yourself. However, in order for you to escape the Superfly, someone has to take your place. Meaning that if someone approaches Superfly with you, you can leave Superfly, but the person inside cannot. Know what I'm saying? So in this case, Superfly, I mean, it's a really bad stand. The only way for Superfly to work is that you have to trick someone into replacing you. And yeah, I don't think that's gonna be enough, you know? I don't think that's gonna be enough for Superfly. Alright. Next stand. We have Enigma. Okay, remind me what Enigma did again, because I do not remember this stand. Enigma is able to transform objects and people, including the user, into pieces of paper. Oh. I can literally turn anything into paper. That's pretty cool. So pretty much what... Let me see this thing. Wait a minute. Once he has witnessed them display their habit, to be 100% sure it's their hell, the stand can capture the target next time they display such tell. Oh, that's how Enigma works. Alright. When its ability is activated, part of the object is literally transformed into paper and the rest of it is slowly but inexorably absorbed. Once absorbed, Terunosuke must keep the paper folded to keep them inside, but it is free to unfold it later whenever he needs the trapped object or person to be released. Oh, okay. I see how it works. So, you can turn anything into a piece of paper. It's like a Pokemon. Imagine if you have, like, an item, you can turn that into paper. And then, the moment that you turn that into paper, you literally unfold it, and then you release whatever the hell you sealed. And in order to turn a living person into paper, you gotta give him a scare first. Enigma is pretty cool. He's a pretty cool stand, but I don't know. It's alright. I don't think it's better than the Fool though. And then there is Cheap Trick. Chat, I'm not gonna lie. Just like Ebony Devil, Cheap Trick is pretty ass. He's a strong stand, but for someone who wants to actually use stands, this stand is pretty fucking ass. Let me explain why. For Cheap Trick to work, someone has to look at your back. Cheap Trick is gonna kill you, and then Cheap Trick is gonna move to that person. And then the next person that looks at that person's back, Cheap Trick is gonna attack them. So, honestly, Cheap Trick is... it's its own stand, and I really do not think that it's a good stand. Because, honestly, I don't like the self-destruct stands. I think they're stupid. Because in order for them to trigger, you have to die. And that's what makes them an automatic really bad. So okay, chat, look at that. We're finally into part 5. Not gonna lie, part 5 has one of the, in my opinion, part 5 has one of the best stands. In my opinion, chat, part 5 has one of the best stand lineups that you can see in JoJo. Starting out with the Golden Boy himself, Gold Experience. Gold Experience, I mean, just like his father, he's pretty good. This is just another healer stand. I think the base Gold Experience, I think it will be classified the same as Crazy Diamond. He's perfectly balanced, but I think Gold Experience is miles better than Crazy Diamond. because he can turn anything he wants into other objects. This motherfucker can turn a banana into a gun. That's how good he is. That's how good it is. Gold Experience Requiem, on the other hand, this thing is ridiculous. This thing's fucking ridiculous. This thing is far more ridiculous. This thing is far more ridiculous than Bites the Dust. Yeah, you could say that Gold Experience has the same power as Dio's The World, but Gold Experience Requiem is actually stronger than The World. The reason why, it's because if you get punched by Gold Experience Requiem, you're gonna be in living hell. You're gonna be in a perpetual state of death. In other words, you're gonna have to experience death for all of eternity, never to be able to rest. That's a scary thought right there. That's how they were able to defeat Diavolo. I don't know if it's pronounced Diavolo. I have no idea how it's pronounced. But anyways, Gold Experience Requiem. Chad, this thing is ridiculous. This thing is just fucking ridiculous. I think this is one of those stands that just needs to be fucking banned. Oh man. All right, next ones. Oh, nice. The next stand we have Sticky Finger. All right, design wise, I think Sticky Fingers is a really cool stand. Same power as Gold Experience. The thing about the gimmick that Sticky Fingers has is that you can create portals and stuff with its zippers. You can also remove parts of your body with said zipper without necessarily harming yourself, you know? Which I think, in my opinion, is one of the positives that Sticky Fingers has. Again, it also has the same power as Gold Experience, which I think it's a plus. But yeah, the zippers are pretty good. I like this guy. I would say that I think in my opinion, Sticky Fingers is not as better as Highway Star, but it's up there. I think it's perfectly balanced. All right. Who's the next stand that we have after Sticky Fingers? Next up, we have Moody Blues. All right. Moody Blues, I think it's that let me see what he did. Chronological rebroadcasting. Oh, okay. So what Moody Blues does is that he literally like allows you to play, restart, and pretty much see a person's see something in the past that happened in that one moment, or in this case, what that person did in those couple of minutes. Another thing about the stand is that it also has the same power as Sticky Fingers and Gold Experience. That during the fact that it has a rush attack. Honestly, Moody Blues is pretty good. You can actually gather information with this. You can gather information with this thing, and it also has the power to back it up. So I think this thing may be a little better than Highway Star. Not as strong as... Actually, yeah, this thing is stronger than Red Hot Chili Peppers. What is this thing doing here? There we go. That's a more balanced list. All right. Next on the list, we have Sex Pistols. Okay, so Sex Pistols is the same as the Emperor. The fact that it can change the trajectory of the bullet itself. The difference from Sex Pistols and the Emperor is that this actually makes the bullets bounce, whereas the Emperor is just auto lock on the target. This actually has trajectory on it. I would say that Sex Pistols, in my opinion, is a meh stand, but in my opinion, it goes above the Emperor, because at the very least, it doesn't fuck you over like it would do so with the Emperor, like it happened to Whole Horse, and you actually do have more control over the trajectory of the bullets. All right, next stand, we got Aerosmith. Now, this little airplane, yeah, you can do a whole lot with this airplane. For once, you can literally it fires at will. You can order it to fire. You can also detect things with carbon dioxide as well. So it essentially has its own radar as well. And due to the fact that Aerosmith is completely small, it's extremely small, it is gonna be extremely difficult to hit. So I think this one goes on par with Magician's Red. And in my opinion, I think this has a better radar than Magician's Red. So yeah, Aerosmith, it does suffer the same problem that Tower of Grey does suffer though. Because of its stature, it can actually be trapped with things like Hierophant's Green, the Emerald trapping stuff, the Emerald Splash. I feel like it suffers the same problem that it has with Tower of Grey. All right, next stand. Holy shit, Chad, this stand is a fucking menace. Purple Haze. Chat. Purple Haze, just like the sun, it harms the user. However, it's more of a menace than the sun. If you're gonna cast Purple Haze, you better get ready to haul ass. Because this is essentially just a bubonic plague. This is the manifestation of a bubonic plague. So the moment that you actually use Purple Haze, run. Just the steps to using this thing is that you have to cast the stand, then get the fuck out. Like, don't even look back. And the worst thing about Purple Haze in this case is that if one of the little beads on his wrist explode, the disease is so potent that it also causes living things around it to decompose. There is a reason as to why. There is also a reason as to why its stand user only used the stand once. Once, chat. Once. Fugo never even used the stand, because the thing is, Fugo doesn't even have control over the stand at all. That's how much of a menace Purple Haze is. Sure, it's close range, but yeah, it's close range, but it's the virus that's deadly about it. So just because it's close range doesn't mean it's not deadly. Oh, and the virus, yeah, it affects friends and foes and the user itself. So yeah. Oh yeah, and another thing I wanted to emphasize about the virus from Fugo's stand, from Purple Haze, it also harms stands as well. So if the virus is released, that means that the user is gonna take the person that is near Purple Haze is gonna take double damage, because if their stand is out and then they're out, yeah, that's double damage right there. I think Purple Haze is, wow. The only way that you can survive Purple Haze if you have antibodies. If you have an antibody or a vaccine or something from decomposition, then yeah, I'm pretty sure that you can use it to your advantage. And keep in mind, This is when the stand was developing its ability, meaning that this is in its early stages. Honestly, Purple Haze, situational, but in my opinion, is better than the Sun. Actually, no, it's worse than the Sun because it also hurts you. It hurts your allies. The Sun is not as harmful as Purple Haze. It's still, like, Purple Haze is pretty good, but I would say it's situational because it also harms you. And if there are stands that harm you or force you to self-destruct, that automatically gets it down from the tier list. All right, so next stand we have is none other than Spice Girl. All right, so what do we have on Spice Girl? What was her ability again? I don't remember most of their abilities. Soften any material it strikes. So in the case of Spice Girl, you literally turn anything soft. You can turn a solid object into a silly putty, pretty much. Like, you can turn it into something extremely soft. Granted, this thing pretty much has power as well, so it has considerable strength and speed. But its ability is only being used like maybe once or twice. But yeah, other than that, it's not particularly that useful. I would say it's perfectly balanced. If anything, I think it's perfectly balanced behind... I'd say behind Harvest. Next up, we have... Oh, we got it. We got the turtle, chat. Next up, we have Mr. President. Oh, it turns things into rubber. Never mind. All right. So if it's something that turns things into rubber, I mean, I still think that it's perfectly balanced because the stand itself already has good speed, good strength, just like Crazy Diamond and Gold Experience. But yeah, it turns things into rubber, which in a way can be useful. If you're hiding behind a shield, let's just say if you're hiding behind something and then something wants to plunge at you, for example, Tower of Grey over here. Yeah, Tower of Grey is not getting through because the thing you're hiding behind is made of rubber. So yeah, I think that Spice Girl lands here in perfectly balanced. She's not bad, but she's not that powerful either. She's all right. Besides, there's also lots of ways that you can shield yourself, like Yellow Temperance over here. All right. Next stand we have is Mr. President. This turtle right here. It's situational, but I would say situational in the same way as strength. Why? Because strength gives you shelter, and Mr. President does the exact same thing. It's literally a pocket dimension. In other words, it's like a room. It's like, you could say that Mr. President is literally your base of operations, if you will. So I think Mr. President is situational in the good way because you can store food and you can pretty much do whatever you want. It's literally just a room. And yeah, hell, I think it's better than Pearl Jam because Pearl Jam makes food, but this thing has a room with everything. It's like spending your night in a hotel in a way. I don't think it's better than... Okay, I think it's a little better than Strength because you can use this anywhere so long as you have access to the turtle. Strength is good because the ship is yours and you can bend it to your own will. But Mr. President is better because it can be used anywhere, even underwater, considering the fact that it's a turtle we're talking about. Whereas strength is only limited to a body of water. Mr. President is everywhere. So I think that Mr. President is the best situational stand so far. So far. All right, next stand we have is Silver Chariot Requiem. This is an automatic stand, meaning that you have no control over Silver Chariot Requiem. Yes, it's the same as Silver Chariot itself, except that it's in its Requiem form. However, the problem with Silver Chariot Requiem is that you lose control of the stand. The whole purpose of Silver Chariot Requiem is to protect the Requiem arrow. And honestly, it literally affects the entire environment again on it. It literally makes people switch their souls with other people or animal or any other thing in the vicinity that's a living thing. It also turns them into eldritch horrors. But the moment that the stand is destroyed, all of that returns to normal. But I think it's also situational simply because you have no control of it, and it can also affect you. I think. Let me read the description because I want to see the specifics on Chariot Requiem. I want to see if it's as good or as bad as I'm picturing it to be. Yeah, it's an automatic stand that went out of control due to Polnareff no longer being fit for combat. In other words, yeah, the stand is automatic. You do not get to control Silver Chariot Requiem. I would say it's also situational simply because of that. And in the case of Fugo's stand, I think it's actually stronger than Fugo's stand because no vaccine is gonna save you from it. Fugo's stand is a little more potent because it does have strength and speed. But Chariot Requiem is almost in the same level as Fugo's stand. In that I mean that everything in its vicinity is affected, even the stand user itself. Granted, we didn't get to see this because the stand user was no longer alive. So that is the reason as to why I think Chariot Requiem, in my opinion, is worse than Fugo's stand. Because with Fugo's stand, you can spawn your stand, then get the fuck out. Like I think Fugo's stand in this case Purple Haze. I think Purple Haze's range is not as big as Chariot Requiem, but it's still a pretty huge scale. Yeah, I don't think Silver Chariot Requiem is that good in my opinion. Okay, next stand. King Crimson. Yeah, the ability to literally skip seconds into the future and literally just... Yeah, this stand is fucking ridiculous. Any stand that can manipulate time and stuff, it's just automatically fucking ridiculous. This is literally bites the dust on steroids. Except that it doesn't require any setup. You can literally move in a point of time and literally just yeah, you just use King Crimson. You have time erasure. You literally erase a couple of seconds on time, and yeah, you're fucked. You're literally fucked. Oh yeah, and another thing that you can do is that this also gives you the ability to predict attacks as well, which I think is pretty cool. Like, having an advantage over Fate that, oh, you're gonna attack me? Well, it'd be a shame if I skip a couple of seconds and literally you're not gonna hit me. Chat, imagine you're playing Fortnite, you know, you're just normal, and then a sudden lag spike happens, and then you fall to your doom. That was not lag, that was King Crimson. That lag spike you felt, that is King Crimson in a nutshell. But yeah, this stand is fucking ridiculous. I think it's more. I think King Crimson is. Oh my god, this thing is even more stupid than Bites the Dust. Who else do we have on this list? All right, now we're up to the other stands. Next, we're up to the I would say taking out the trash in a way, you know? All right. We're going to start with Black Sabbath. Is it Black Sabbath or Black Sabbath? I don't know. I don't even know how you pronounce it, but Black Sabbath? Black Sabbath? So, how Black Sabbath works is that the moment you come in contact with with a shadow, this thing is going to attack you. And if this thing grabs an ordinary human shadow, this thing can drag their souls. So in a way, it's a very scary stand. Oh yeah, another thing is that this thing can store objects in its mouth. So you could use it like some sort of inventory as well, which I think it's pretty cool. I think this is an automatic stand, right? Okay, yeah, this is also an automatic stand. You have no control over Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath is a cool stand, but the problem is that you have, again, just like Purple Haze, the Sun, and Chariot Requiem, you have no control over it, which it can be a huge disadvantage. Sure, its range is ridiculous, I will admit, but yeah, I don't know. It's a random ass stand. Black Sabbath, it's another situational stand. It's another one of those. At the very least, it's not as destructive as Chariot Requiem or Purple Haze. So at the very least, if you give it instructions, I think this is one of the more obedient automatic stands, because at the very least, you just give this thing instructions and it just follows them. So in my opinion, out of all of these automatic stands, this one is the superior one in the situational category. All right. After Black Sabbath, we have, I think that's Craftwork, isn't it? No, that's Soft Machine. Craftwork is the one that's next to it. All right, so we have Craft Machine. I am not gonna lie, chat. I do not remember what half of these motherfuckers do. Pinch deflating. Oh, okay. So it's like justice in a way. So the thing about soft machine is that just like justice, if you perforate someone, instead of actually taking control of them, you literally just deflate them. That's it. That's literally what soft machine does. I would say soft machine goes because you still have to perforate them in a way. You don't take control of them, which is a bit of a bummer. I think soft machine would be in the category of perfectly balanced below Horus. Yeah, because you still have to stab them. With justice at the very least gave you the power of illusion. Soft machine doesn't even give you that luxury. But yeah, you have to stab the user in order for soft machine to even work. Now we move on to Craftwork. All right. Let me move to Craftwork. There it is. This we got this freak. All right. Craftwork. Craftwork is I think was this a stand that literally. Oh, this is the one that manipulates kinetic energy. Okay, this stand is pretty cool. So, chat, you know Dungeons and Dragons? there's a type of rod in Dungeons and Dragons where if you click a certain button, it remains in that place. Yeah, Craftwork can do that with any object, chat. Any object that you have. Let's just say I have a piggy bank, right? And I want to turn that piggy bank into some sort of solid object in the air. I can use Craftwork to get on top of the piggy bank, and the piggy bank is still gonna be floating in the air until I decide to deactivate the ability. Oh, and another thing, this thing can freeze anything that comes into contact with you. In other words, if someone is shooting bullets at you, you can just freeze. You can just freeze them in midair, which I think is a pretty cool ability. It's literally essentially you can literally recreate the Matrix with Craftwork, which I think it's a funny ability. All right, Craftwork. I mean, it's a cool stand, but against I don't know how to feel when it comes to close range stands. I think Craftwork is also perfectly balanced, better than Red Hot Chili Pepper for that matter. Yeah, Craftwork is pretty cool. I like this. I like this. He looks like a freak. Like, look at the stand. This thing looks like a freak, but its ability is really cool. All right, who do we have next on the list? Let me check this out. All right. Next one on the list is Little Feet. Little Feet can turn anything and anyone into any size whatsoever. I can turn myself into a giant, and I can turn anything in the size of an ant. I think what Little Feet does is that it reduces the size of whatever person there is. It literally not just person, but I can pick up any item and essentially turn it into an action figure, which I think is pretty freaking stupid. Yeah, that's literally what Little Feet does. It just turns them into a mini item. Honestly, I think that this stand has a lot of uses. Little Feet can. Oh, I don't want people to steal my car. No problem. I can turn my car literally in the size of a Hot Wheel and store it in my pocket. And then when I need to haul ass, I can literally just put the car on the ground, turn it big again, and then I'm starting to haul ass. Or I can make a car fit inside of a building, which I think is pretty useful. And this doesn't limit itself to just inanimate objects, but you can also turn humans small as well with Little Feet, which I think is fucking hilarious. I think Little Feet is one of those stands that just allows you to manipulate height. And honestly, the stand is stupid. You can turn anything into an ant, and then it just, yeah. I'm gonna place this one at perfectly balanced, right next to Craftwork here, because it still has its uses outside of battle. Like, it can also give you a bigger inventory in case you need to store items and shit, you know? Actually, no, I think this stand is pretty strong, yeah. I think you can turn stuff microscopic as well. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, Little Feet is pretty strong. I'm not sure about its power, its strength and shit, but I think it's pretty strong simply because it has uses in battle and outside of battle. And honestly, a bigger inventory could really help a lot of people nowadays. All right, next stand we have is Man in the Mirror. Just like the Hangman, this is another mirror. This is another dimension stand, a dimension stand. So what this does is that it grants you entry into the mirror world. However, if something is dragged into the mirror world, that does not mean that your stand is going to be dragged as well, because you can choose what you want to drag inside of that world. In other words, chat, I can bring someone into the mirror world with no stand whatsoever to defend themselves. And then in that mirror world, since they do not have their stand, someone can actually use the hangman and kill them inside of the mirror world. Because the mirror is still being reflected. And if you think destroying a mirror saves you from the mirror world, because it's a portal there, destroying a mirror, you're just making more portals. So, man in the mirror, I'm gonna say it's a little weaker than the hangman, but it's still up there. I think man in the mirror is pretty good. Next one we have is Beach Boy. Right, was that the name? Beach Boy? Yeah, Beach Boy. It's literally a freaking, it's literally a fishing rod. However, what makes this fishing rod stupid, this fishing rod can glitch through walls. That's literally its gimmick. This thing can literally glitch through walls. And on top of that, the string itself can reflect bullets. Oh yeah, Bitch Boy cannot be destroyed by usual means either. It says here that, let's see. Any damage inflicted to the string will instead affect the one hooked on it. Oh. Oh. That is actually a really good ability. I still say it's meh, because you still need to catch something in the rod, but actually no, it's situational. I think it's more situational than judgment in this case. Sure, it has the reflective ability, but besides that, I don't see many uses on it. All right, who's next? The Grateful Dead. Chat. This is literally the same shit as Seth. Instead of aging backwards, you're aging forward. Instead of turning people into kids, you're turning them into old people. And the funny thing is that this can actually not affect you if you choose not to. So, now you have the choice of whether you want to beat a kid or you want to beat the shit out of an old man. And believe you me, I think out of the two stands, I prefer to beat the shit out of an old man. I've always wanted to beat JP from Street Fighter 6. That old man always pisses me off. But yeah, Grateful Dead is literally just Set, but in reverse. So I think it goes there. Chat, next up we have by far the most disgusting stand out of this entire list. Babyface. Chat. This is a really bad stand. Not only do you... The reason why I think this stand is bad, I don't want to get into the specifics on why this stand is bad. But here's not only is it bad in the sense that you need blood. You need blood from your target. On top of the blood from your target, you need to find a host for the stand itself. The problem is that the host has to be a woman, and I do not want to explain especially what happens afterwards. And yeah, I just this thing is fucking disgusting. I just don't want to get specifically into it. But the reason why this stand is also pretty fucking useless is because it requires a lot of fucking setup all for nothing. Because the stand that it spawns is gonna be killed anyways. So I think this stand is... Not only is it useless, but it's also pretty fucking gross. Really bad stand. Garbage even. All right. Next up on the list, we are almost done with part 5, and we have White Album next. All right. So White Album, not only does it allows you to create bodies of ice, you can skate on it, and this is an armor stand. So honestly, this is one of the better stands. White Album, pretty fucking good. And you got cryokinesis with it too. Blocks all but the strongest attacks. Okay, it does block attacks though. Like the armor itself is pretty good, but if there is a stand that is extremely powerful, such as Gold Experience, Crazy Diamond, or God forbid, these guys up here in Broken as F, White Album is, yeah, your armor's gonna break. Your armor is literally gonna break. So it's a good ass armor stand. Don't get me wrong. It's a really good ice stand. Better than Horror is miles away because it provides you with armor and it's extremely bulky. But you can still harm the person in it. So I'm just gonna place it. I'm just gonna place it here below Geb. The reason why it's pretty strong is because it gives you a good ass armor. Gold Experience can beat the shit out of this guy, but actually it's not that bad. Pretty good. It gives you lots of powers on it, and it provides you armor. Sign me up. And you look cool doing it. I always thought that White Album's armor looked pretty cool. Alright, who do we have next on the list? The next one on the list is Clash, which is literally a freaking shark. Liquid Warp. So, chat. It's another water stand. It's literally yet another water stand. Chat, I have a question. Have you guys seen a movie called Ghost Shark? Wherever there is water, the shark is gonna teleport there and eat whoever is in that water vicinity. Yeah, Clash is literally just Ghost Shark. But again, it's another water stand. Granted, it's not as good as Aqua Necklace or Geb, but it's not as bad as Dark Blue Moon and Strength. I think this one is in the... because you still need water in order to trigger it. I think it's meh. It's honestly meh. Besides attacking, it doesn't provide anything else. It's essentially just the same as... it's literally the same shit as the Hangman, but a bit more specific. And a bit more vulnerable, I would say. Yeah, it can travel through any liquid, even blood. So the thing is, you still need liquid for this thing. So it's literally Ghost Shark in a way. Clash is literally just just Ghost Shark that it can travel to any liquid. But besides offensive power and traveling on liquid, that's pretty much it. Like, honestly, I think that a better stand than Clash is just, I think, in my opinion, out of all of the water stands, I think Geb is the more superior water stand in this case. Because not only can Geb shapeshift into pretty much whatever the fuck you want, but you don't necessarily require water for Geb to be at its full potential. So that's the reason why I think Clash is in the meh category compared to Geb and Aqua Necklace. Because you still need some sort of liquid in order to trigger it. Oh yeah, and in the case of Clash, you cannot take control of people. So it's not a puppet stand. Speaking of puppet stands, the next one actually is Talking Head. Now, Talking Head, it's not particularly useful, but it's not completely useless either. So what you can do with the stupid ass tongue is that if it's attached to someone, you can force them to say pretty much any lie. You're forcing them to lie essentially. So that's literally really all it can do, to be honest. Honestly, can force up a victim to speak up and tell lies or remain silent, depending on the victim's resilience. Yeah, about that. Besides forcing someone to lie or pretty much remain silent, it's not particularly useful besides that. This is yet another situational stand. I think this one is worse than Surface, actually. Because all this thing does is just lying. Actually, I think this one is even worse than Judgment and all of these other fuckers combined. Like, honestly, yeah, it's just... I don't know. At the very least, there's a little bit of usefulness in the other stance. Talking Head literally just... It just forces you to lie. That's it. That's literally all that Talking Head does. It's not completely useless, but it's not the best thing either. Okay, who's next? Notorious Big. Oh my fucking god, yet another self-destruct stand. Okay, here's the thing. You guys already know how I feel about self-destruct stands. This one is ass. But this one is by far the best one of the self-destruct stands. And that's a given. Let me explain why. Notorious Big is essentially indestructible. Like, unlike Cheap Trick or Ebony Devil, you cannot kill Notorious Big. The most that you can do with Notorious Big is literally just escape from it. That's all you literally do with it. And yeah, and the thing about Notorious Big is that just like Cheap Trick and Ebony Devil, you have to self-destruct. Which honestly, self-destruct stands are automatically really bad because you literally have to do self-destruct yourself for these things to even activate in the first place. Like, out of all of the self-destruct stands, the reason why this one is the best is because you can't kill it. The only way that you can technically defeat Notorious Big is if you erase it from existence. That's it. Other than that, Notorious Big... Also, you cannot control it, which is another deal breaker. So yeah, off to really bad it goes. Next stand is Metallica. Oh my god, this stand is a fucking menace. Oh my god, Metallica is a menace. Chat. Metallica can turn your blood into iron. Because since your blood is literally, how should I say? Since your blood has iron on it, you can actually manipulate that to your own advantage. On top of that, you can also use Metallica to blend with the environment. This is one of the many stands that is absolutely fucking ridiculous, chat. Like, this stand is... Wow. Just wow. I don't think you need to touch your opponent for this thing to even trigger. I think this thing is already OP by default. That's why I think that Metallica should be higher up. So, this stand is so much of a fucking menace, by the way. It almost fucking killed It literally killed the you know King Crimson, right? This thing is so much of a menace, it almost killed King Crimson. I'm gonna have to put it here because again, this thing is broken. This thing is fucking ridiculous. Just what was Araki thinking? On top of that, you can technically turn invisible. So not only do you have Acton Baby's powers, but you can also manipulate the iron on people's bodies. Like that is fucking ridiculous. This is the definition of unbalanced. Okay, next up, who do we have? Next up we have Green Day. Green Day is another virus stand, but in the case of Green Day, you have to make whatever person fall to the ground. Oh yeah, and you can infest people with mold on it. But there's also the gravity on it as well, that if someone literally falls from a high altitude and Green Day is in the vicinity, you're gonna be exposed to it, and it's pretty bad. Oh yeah, and another thing is that you can implant your own mold into your severed limbs and body parts. And you can control them freely, mind you. But honestly, I think... Oh yeah, and it says here that it can also indiscriminately attack all life forms. Things that are not living, yeah, those things are not gonna die. It only kills living things, by the way. And you cannot go down or else you're fucked. That's how the mode starts. And yeah, I think that this thing's range is fucking ridiculous. Okay. I think the stand is... It's pretty strong because of its stupid ass range. So I would place this, I would say, I mean, you can still harm the user. So it's not completely invincible. So I'm just gonna place it here behind Man in the Mirror. Actually, no, you can still harm Man in the Mirror on the Mirror World, but you cannot harm the Hangman. I'm not sure you can harm Green Day either, but yeah. The only way to stop this madness from happening, you just have to find the stand user and fucking kill his ass. But I think that Green Day is pretty strong. Next stand we have is yet another armor stand. We have Oasis this time. Now, in the case of Oasis, Oasis is honestly a weaker... I'm not gonna lie, chat. Oasis is, in my opinion, weaker than White Album. What Oasis allows you to do is that it allows you to hide underground. It allows you to swim underground. But you still cannot see on it, by the way. Also, you get an enhancement on your physical abilities, especially your speed. And yes, you can easily dodge bullets as well. Oh yeah, and you can also swim on solid surfaces. Essentially, what you're doing is you're glitching. You're literally glitching on the ground, you're glitching on walls, etc. Like, Oasis is good when it comes to wall glitching, but besides that, and giving you speed and shit, I think it's not as good as White Album, you know? I think it's okay. It's in the meh category. I think it's a little bit better than the Fool because you can still hide on like miles under the sand. I will not use this stand, by the way, because cockroaches can be hiding underground, and yeah, I don't want to find a fucking cockroach, or else I will have a heart attack and literally fucking die. And last but not least, the last stand of part 5, the Rolling Stones. So, in the case of the Rolling Stones is literally a stand that predicts someone's death. Whichever person is engraved in the Rolling Stones is the stand that is the person that's probably gonna be fated to die eventually. Oh yeah, and you cannot control this thing. You literally cannot control the stand. And it's not a malevolent stand either. It's just a prediction stand. Just like Toph, it just predicts who's gonna die. Oh yeah, and it follows the target as well. And yeah, it's literally just a fate stand. So I think that it's pretty bad, but it's essentially, I would say that Rolling Stones is literally the same as Toph. That it literally predicts someone's fate. And the reason why I think Rolling Stones is a bit more malevolent is because it predicts their death. While Toph predicts their fate. That's the difference. Okay, chat. So, I do not have the full list, unfortunately, and that is all the time that we have for today. So I am just going to save this and download the image. No, I don't want to enable ads. Thank you very much. Okay, so I already have the image on me. So next week we are going to continue with this list. But so far this is what we got on the list. So I'm gonna have to make the list again when I have the chance. So Unbroken as F. So Unbroken as F, we literally have, I mean, chat. We have the 5 most ridiculous stands. We only have 5 stands in Broken as F. We're not gonna put anything on Ken Solo Jujutsu Kaisen yet, because we're gonna do that in the very end. So pretty strong. We have these guys over here. These are all perfectly balanced. These are meh. I mean, they could be better. They're not bad, but they're not powerful either. You got these ones which are situational. And then you got the stands that are really bad. Alright then, chat. Unfortunately, as much as I would love to continue this, that is all of the time that we have for today. I will be seeing you guys next week, where not only will I continue this tier list, but I will also go back to Midgar. The tier list we're gonna do on next Friday. But next time that I'm live, I'm going to be on Midgar playing Final Fantasy VII. But that's all the time we have for today. But do not leave yet, because you guys know what time it is. It's that time of the night. You know it. You love it. It's Rate a Streamer, where we rate a streamer at the end of each... English not Englishing. Where we rate a streamer at the end of each stream. Now the real question is, who shall we raid? Someone that we haven't raided for a while. Someone that needs a raid. Someone that should be raided at this very freaking moment. Alright, chat. Here's what we're gonna do. I am going to be raiding. Let me see who can when I blast you guys towards. Alright, let me go to raid channel. And let's see who can we raid that we're following currently. Raid victim, raid victim. Who shall be my raid victim? Alright, chat. Here's what we're gonna do. We are going to be raiding... You know what? Yeah, a lot of shit is happening here. I don't even know who to raid. Okay, chat. I am not gonna be raiding a VTuber tonight, but we are going to be raiding a streamer that I actually found on TikTok. He has done a lot of informative stuff on TikTok, and I think that he can be rated. And he doesn't have follower only chat, so oh, would you look at that? Right when I'm finishing the stream, a stream boobot decides to show its ugly face. Get out of here. You are not welcome here. You are literally not welcome here. All right, so let me do something here real quick. There we go. There we go. Something with substance. Something that doesn't read stream boo. So, chat, you guys have the funny little me. If you guys are sub, you guys can, spam the funny little me with the megaphone. If you don't, then that's all right. You guys can just put everything full on caps lock. That is perfectly fine as well. But we are going to be raiding. Let me see if we can raid him. Actually, I still gotta double check. All right, we are going to be raiding Minty, who is currently just chatting. I'm assuming he just started stream right now, so I am going to be raiding him, and I will see you guys in the next one. So stay tuned, and yeah, I'll see you guys on Monday for Final Fantasy VII. Bye!